Oh, me. The emotions are flowing tonight. It is a special night in Smashville, but it is also an emotional night in Smashville. Welcome into Catfish on Ice, episode 108, with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, your host. Welcome in. We just got done watching Pekka Rinne get his jersey raised up to the Bridgestone Arena rafters, get all of the accolades and all of the honor that he deserves. We've been waiting for this moment ever since it was announced, the date. And also, while he was playing, and last season, we were thinking about it like this could be his last season playing for the Predators. And we've been thinking about this moment for a long time, and it happened tonight. It was a beautiful ceremony. They did an outstanding job at the arena. I want to throw a shout out to Bally Sports South, a local regional broadcast partner of the Predators that shows all the games. They did a great job broadcasting the ceremony. And it was just amazing. I definitely shed some tears. I know that sounds a little emotional, but it's true. When you are a diehard fan and you see someone like Pekka Rinne, who it just embodies he's the embodiment of a classy player, a role model that you want for every athlete out there. And not just athlete, but actually aspiring to do anything in your life, whether it's you want to be an engineer, you want to be a scientist, you want to be a doctor, anything that you're aspiring to be. Pekka Rinne is a great role model for you. It's not just hockey. So it was just amazing. So this is Catfish on Ice, episode 108. We're excited. Rich, did you get a chance to watch the ceremony? How do you feel about it?
I watched every bit of it. Very emotional. Still a little emotional, really, if you sit and talk about it long enough. It was just awesome. Good to see him back. You don't realize how much you missed him since he's been gone. So
I know, right? Logan Hall chime in on YouTube here, says that was so tough to watch. I didn't cry, but I almost lost it all. Yeah,
I did.
It was one of those situations where you're trying to fight the tears a little bit because, and it goes, but this is what I'm trying to get at. It goes above sports, really, for me.
Right.
Pekka Rinne is just such a class act. He's such a good person, and he's just like he carries himself, and you saw it in the ceremony. Like he almost looked like he was the most humble superstar you've ever seen in your life. That's kind of what I always say about Pekka Rinne. He's so humble. Humility is a big word I pull from it. He's just sitting back watching all these people praise him, and he's just the guy that's just like. And also, I think Pekka Rinne could maybe take a second job in stand-up comedy because he's actually pretty funny. Right. Yeah, he's actually a pretty funny dude. But it was awesome.
It was good. You heard a lot of people, and he even mentioned it, that you never saw him on a bad night. He never showed that side to anybody, but when he was in an interview, he always deflected everything to his teammates, and that was what was awesome. That's the humility right there. Hockey is obviously a team sport, and other sports you hear the words "I" a lot. You don't hear that in hockey, and you definitely don't hear that from Pekka Rinne. So,
yep, totally agree, Rich. Totally agree. So we are going to fully talk about Pekka Rinne, what he meant to this franchise, talk about the retirement ceremony that was outstanding and was just really well done. The franchise really knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, when it came to everything they did to make sure that they show the respect and the love and the tribute to Pekka Rinne that he deserves and what he meant to this franchise. We're going to get more into it. It's a jam-packed episode. We're doing a live watch-along episode. In case anyone forgot, we're playing a pretty big divisional opponent tonight. We're playing the Dallas Stars. It's a really big game. So we're going to do a live watch-along. We are here for you for the entire Preds Dallas Stars game tonight. It's a live watch-along. If you're a first-time listener to Catfish on Ice, we welcome you in. Please comment on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, comment and tweet at us. We would love to join us for this game against the Dallas Stars. Give us your thoughts on the game. Give us your thoughts on the Pekka Rinne retirement ceremony. We want to hear it. We will talk about it. If you got any questions, you want us to talk, any topics you want us to cover, we will get into it. We are brought to you by DraftKings. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and we have a lot to get into. The Stadium Series game, against the Tampa Bay
Oh,
Lightning is 48 hours away, people. So we will dissect that matchup. We've got Lightning Insider, Eric Erlandson of Lightning Insider. He founded lightninginsider.com. He's been covering the Tampa Bay Lightning for 20 years down in Tampa. He joined us earlier today for an interview dissecting the matchup, getting us caught up on the Tampa Bay Lightning in their quest for a three-peat. He talked about some other things. We talked about the matchup. We talked about what we think maybe both teams will do as the trade deadline gets closer and closer. So you want to stay tuned for that interview, which will be tomorrow on the main podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, all those platforms, it will be available for you to listen to. But we're going to preview the Stadium Series matchup. Rich, give me your initial thoughts right now. How are you feeling about that Stadium Series matchup?
Well, obviously, if you go back and listen to episode 107, we were a little upset about the state of the team at the moment, but then they just came out and played really well and didn't give up against Florida. So I'm feeling a little bit better about it now. It seems like hopefully they've got everything turned around. Need to get this win tonight. That's for sure.
Well, we're going to talk about that Florida Panthers game. We have not done an episode since the Florida Panthers game. That game was wild. That game was like just off the rails, like crazy to watch from start to finish. It was back and forth. It started off like you thought the Preds were going to definitely lose. Then the Preds just kept battling back. You want to talk about a game where the Preds got up off the mat? Let's think about it from boxing terms. If you're in a boxing match, the Preds are down on the mat, right? Like the countdown's 1 to 10, and the Preds are like, you know what? We're not going down right now. We're not going down. Justin Gambino, our friend, says, insane ceremony tonight. Seeing Rinne had me emotional.
Yep.
We're right there with you. You're not alone in that. I think there's probably thousands upon thousands of people feeling the same way. Yep. We got a Missy Kronk. Welcome to the podcast, Missy. It says love Preds, and Rinne was one of my favorite players. Just wish I could have watched the ceremony. Well, Missy, keep in tune with the podcast tonight. We're going to talk about it. Yes, it was an amazing ceremony. It was really emotional. It was really well done. It was one of those things where hopefully the national media will share plenty of clips from the ceremony for the national audience to be able to get to see it, because it really was like amazing to watch.
It was really good.
It was really well done.
Oh, look, somebody threw a catfish with a 35 t-shirt onto the ice. That's cool.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah. So we're doing a live watch along tonight, everybody. The Preds versus the Stars. The puck is about to be dropped. We know how big of a game this is for multiple reasons. And I'm sure the emotions are running way higher than we can imagine for those players, especially players like Roman Josi, who participated in the ceremony. I mean, you saw Kimmo Timonen, a early foundational Preds player who participated in it. Shea Weber was there, which also got Shea Weber also got the fountain, the water fountains running out of your eyes. I mean, it was like, wow.
Everybody
checked all the boxes. They checked all the boxes in that ceremony. We're going to touch some of the major points, some of the major quotes that I wrote down from the ceremony, from Peccaryne, from David Poyle, from Shea Weber. I mean, some really big quotes that came out of that ceremony. If you missed it, Bally Sports South, I want to throw all the credit to them. They're the local regional broadcaster of the Preds games. I want to throw all the support and love to them, because they're the ones that broadcasted it. But a lot of big quotes came out of that we're going to share throughout this episode. And we also got our top 5 Peccaryne moments and memories that we're going to share. And there's a lot of good ones. So to narrow it down to 5 is pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some good ones, though. We got a good list.
Wow, guys. All right, hold on. We are less than 60 seconds in, and Tanner Jeannot is already in a fight with Radek Faksa of the Dallas Stars. And
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That didn't take long. Setting the tone early, I see.
It didn't even take 60 seconds.
Wow. Come on,
Let's see what happened here. Oh, that's a questionable hit. Oh, no. On Roman Yossi you take a shot at Roman Yossi like that, you're going to see Tanner Jeannot step up. Oh! All right. Both players traded some blows there, but
that wasn't much of a scrap.
But you're going to take a shot at Roman Yossi on the boards like that. You're going to.
Oh, okay. So he led in with his elbow. I didn't think you could do that. That's not cool. Well, whatever.
Anyway. Yeah, but you're going to get some retaliation when that happens. For sure. So good job, Tanner Jeannot, for stepping up to the plate like we know he does when things like that happen.
10th fighting major of the season for Jeannot.
So the game's underway here. Preds and Stars, a big game. Of course, we know the Stars are starting to breathe down the necks of the Predators in the standings. We always knew they were going to do that. I've called the Dallas Stars all season a team that's just hanging out in the tall grass. They're waiting to pounce. You think they're dead. You think they're not going to come back, and they just hang around.
Absolutely, they do. Preds are only 4 points ahead of them in the standings right now. So
I don't like it, Rich. I think they're our number one. I think they're our number one team that could keep us out of the playoffs when it's all said and done. Too. I feel like we're watching a replay of last season. I know last season was a 56-game season, so it was a lot different circumstances. But if anyone remembers last season, the Preds kept figuring out ways to beat the Dallas Stars in overtime. And they ended up getting into the playoffs over the Stars. And so I'm telling you, this rivalry is building and building. It's been building since 2019.
It's definitely huge. I mean, it's you got to win. There's numerous reasons to win tonight. Win it for Pekka, get those 2 points, and keep the Stars out of the playoffs. That's what we want to see. So.
All right, so as we're watching this game, we're keeping an eye on it. Again, this is episode 108 of Catfish on Ice, brought to you by DraftKings, part of the Hockey Podcast Network, with Chad Mitten and Rich Howe, your host. And while we're watching along with you with these games, please feed us those comments. Let us know what you're seeing in the game. Let us know what you thought about the Peccaryne ceremony. Let us know what you think about the NHL trade deadline. Whatever you want to talk about NHL-wise, throw it in the comments. We will talk about it. But until then, let me give you some of my biggest takeaways from the Peccaryne ceremony. First of all, the stage that they set up on the ice was really well done. It was really cool looking. I thought that was awesome. I really, really thought it was cool how many fans came to the arena and made sure they were there. That was awesome.
Yeah, it when it first started, it looked like there weren't as many people there, but it filled out pretty good once it got going.
Well, you got to think it was a 6 p.m. Central Time start. There is this thing called traffic that does exist,
and it's bad in Nashville.
I'm sure there were people that wanted to be there earlier and just couldn't get into the arena or whatever. But as the ceremony went on, and I'm telling you, the fans that were there from start to finish, they were loud, they were respectful. When Peccaryne stepped up to the mic, I mean, it was like he couldn't even get like 6 words out before like they started cheering. Like you could tell he was speechless. Like he didn't even know how to, because he's such a humble person. I mean, and
then he said, "Please sit down." That was funny.
That was the best part of it all.
Yeah, he's like,
he literally told everyone, "Hey, can you just sit down for a second?"
Yeah, so I can get out of this.
So I can actually talk.
Yeah. It was funny. It was really good.
And then, of course, like we said, Shea Weber was in attendance. That was big. I mean, you want to talk about, because he's probably your second most important Preds player of all time behind Peccaryne.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like
hasn't played for the team for, what is it, 8-9 years now? Is that right? When was he traded?
I don't think it's not been that long. 2016.
Oh, 15,
so
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, 7 years. I'm sorry. But yeah, everybody still loves Shea Weber. I mean,
well, I'm going to tell you right now, other than Peccaryne, Shea Weber is the most important Preds player in history of the franchise. I would put Shea Weber securely in second place behind Peccaryne. And so it was awesome to see him. You saw Shea Weber in the background while Pekka was talking, and you could tell that he was emotional as well, raw emotion which
Yep.
really hits you at you hard when you see that kind of thing. And so it was awesome seeing him. Chemo Timonen, for all of our early Preds fans, the Preds fans that have been following this
Oh,
team
yeah.
since 1998. That was really cool to see Chemo Timonen there, a fellow Finnish native
Yeah.
of Peccaryne. That was awesome to see. Of course, Chemo Timonen went on after the Predators to play for the Philadelphia Flyers, so he didn't like retire a Nashville Predator or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he was still he was probably the best defenseman in the early days that ever played for the Predators. Chemo Timonen came in. He was a very important part of those early years for the team. So it was awesome to see that because Peccaryne made his debut in 2005.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Chemo Timonen was still on the team then. So that was cool to see that crossover and stuff.
With them both being from Finland too, that's cool. So,
and here's what I'm going to share a quote that Chemo Timonen said during the ceremony. Chemo Timonen said, quote, "You got your chance in 2005 and the rest is history."
Yep. Absolutely. That's very telling. Wow. What a save by Saros. Yeah, just I know that everybody's excited and in the moment or whatever, but you can tell like everybody just genuinely loves Peccaryne and have nothing but just awesome accolades all the time for him. And yeah, it's very emotional to see those guys get emotional like that. So it was really awesome.
And then, did you get a chance to see Peccaryne's article in the Players Tribune?
No.
Oh,
I'll have to look that up.
Peccaryne put a full-on article in the Players Tribune, and I've got some screenshots here that I can share throughout the episode. But yeah, he put an article that will maybe we can make you cry tonight on the episode, Rich. I would love.
I've already done that. So
yeah, I've already cried tonight. You know what got me really going so I was holding it together.
Which part? I mean, there's so many.
No, I was really holding it together really well, Rich. Like, I mean, I was still like really like emotional, but like I was holding it together.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you watch one of those movies that get the tears flowing and try to hold them in. And this is what got the waterworks flowing for me was when it showed his son in the background. And Peccaryne talked about one day you might not remember it right now.
Yeah.
But one day I'm going to bring you back to Bridgestone Arena and you're going to see these awesome fans and you're going to, and I'm going to bring you back to a game. That was when I lost it, Rich.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same. It was tough, very tough. Yeah. That, and just seeing his parents there, probably has been a while since they've been to America.
Yeah.
You know, both of his sisters were there and just, having his fiance and son there. And yeah, that part, same with me, was very emotional. So,
because that kind of stuff goes way above hockey and what happens on the ice.
Totally.
That's about that's family. That just rises above everything else. And you see Peccaryne is clearly a family man. And he has the right values. He has the right priorities in line. And that's why I go back to say, if you need a role model for your son or daughter, especially in sports, point them to Peccaryne.
Yep. Mike Twitter said the same thing about him bringing his son back, and so did Justin Gambino. That was. I think everybody.
There was another instance where the waterworks got flowing again for me. So like I kind of like wiped my eyes. I was like, okay, I'm good for a second, and then he started thanking his goalie coaches.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is what really got it flowing for me on that instance. Again, you're talking about behind the scenes people who don't ever get the recognition they deserve. They don't ever get the accolades they deserve. They don't end up on the highlights. They don't end up getting the stories written about them, right? Yep. You know, and someone like Peccaryne, the one of the greatest goaltenders of all time in the NHL. Yes, I'm going to say it right now. He is one of the greatest. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but he is one of. He is he's in that class of all-time elite goaltenders in the NHL.
Yep.
And for him to stand at that microphone when everything is on him, the spotlight is all on him, and he thanks his goalie coaches.
Yep. And that was
And then
one of them.
then the camera pans over to the goalie coaches, and you see one of them, like, crying. Like, I mean, it's just like, it gets to you, man. Like, that's the raw human emotion that just like really eats at you in a positive way, because we don't get enough of that in this day and age. We don't get enough of that.
Yeah.
So to see
he also named all the trainers. You never hear those guys' name. The only way you would know them is if you looked on their website or something for the staff or something. Like, nobody ever talks about them. So,
and he didn't have to do that.
No,
he could have walked up. He could have walked up to the microphone and wrote a very general, like 10-minute like speech of like, yeah, thanks to my coaches, thanks to my teammates. It was fun playing. But no, he really put everything into it to thank everyone that's ever impacted him. He threw a little humor in there too, Rich. I mean, there was some funny stuff. Like when David Poile was at the microphone, and he brought up how the 8th round where he was drafted doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
And then they showed Peccarine's reaction. He just starts laughing. He's like, ooh. He's like, ugh.
Yeah. He's like, oh, man.
It's just like stuff like that is just like, I mean, he's just such a genuine person,
Yeah, and that makes Pekka Rinne's story even better. Like, a dude who was drafted in the 8th round, and he said himself he wasn't that talented when he was younger. And tonight he had his banner hung in an arena that he played his whole career in, which is even rarer today with the way players move around. So,
all right, for sure. So the Preds are on a power play here. We're 7 minutes into the game. It's still 0-0. Let's see if we can get an early goal here. Let's see if we can play with the lead here against the Dallas Stars. That power play's been a little bit, it's not been as consistent as it was for a while. So let's see if we can get something cooking on the power play here. I feel like the Stars are really starting to find their rhythm and find their groove. Yeah, they're playing on a back-to-back though tonight, Rich. They played last night. They got an overtime win last night against the Jets. So
they also didn't get into town until this afternoon. So their flight was delayed because of weather.
Thank you, weather.
Yeah, thank you. Justin's asking, do you think Pekka comes back to Nashville as like an assistant goalie coach or something in some capacity? That's just me wanting Pekka around forever. Yeah, same. They should find him something to do.
I'm not going to even speculate one way or the other on that. For us fans, cool. As selfish fans, we would love that. But I don't know. I think Peccaryne strikes me as the type where I think he has big plans for his future outside of hockey.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't see him jumping back into another role within the league anytime soon. But he's got a long life ahead of him, so maybe eventually he might decide to do something like that. But it's really hard to say one way or the other.
Yeah. It would be nice though.
Not much going on here on this power play. The Preds are having a hard time getting anything organized.
Yep. Shots are 4-1 in favor of Dallas. That's not good.
We did just get a good shot just happened from Ellie Tolvanen on the rush. Kind of snuck into the zone and got a decent shot there, but it got saved. So I got some other quotes here that I got from the let's go to David Poile here and some of the things he said about Peccaryne. Of course, Peccaryne was drafted in the 8th round in 2004.
Crazy.
It's crazy to think that it's been that long ago, right?
It's
2004, Peccaryne was drafted in the 8th round. And David Poile stepped up. And David Poile is another one where I could tell he was emotional and he was getting choked up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
He basically used the quote that a lot of us have always said about Peccaryne. Diamonds in the rough, which I know that's a cliche, but it's perfect for Peccaryne when describing him being drafted.
Yes, absolutely.
I
noticed when they showed David Poile before he did his speech, he was kind of nervous, shaking and stuff. So.
Well, Poile told the story that not every Preds fan knows about. A lot of Preds fans know about it, but not everybody. He told the story about the scout going to scout Peccaryne. And how Rinne was not even the starter on his own team that they were going to scout, and the scout showed up early to check him out. And the scout basically just said, look, I see something special in this player.
Yep.
And it was funny because when it was another humorous moment where when Poyle said it, Rinne, you could see Rinne in the background, like kind of chuckling and laughing and stuff. And it's just like, it's a really cool story. It's a really cool story for any athlete out there, aspiring athlete that really has the dream of being a professional in their respective sport.
Yep.
I can't stress this enough. Peccaryne is the perfect example of, yes, if you work hard and you keep working hard, then you can achieve great things. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get your jersey lifted like he did, but it does mean that you got to always work hard. And if you love something enough, then some great things can happen as long as you don't give up. And so that's kind of the story I pull from.
Yeah, and that that story that he told about when he did when they did check him out at that game, I remember reading or seeing him interviewed one time, and he said that he didn't even start that night, like you had said, but they told the scout to come to warm-ups because he's not playing tonight. You need to come and check him out early in the warm-up. So he got drafted.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was the warm-up that he got scouted. Yeah.
So that's pretty special. If you're good enough to get drafted by an NHL scout just from your warm-ups, that's pretty awesome. So
and then really on top of that, let's talk about Roman Josi. So it was really cool to see Roman Josi get to participate in this as the Preds captain.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool to see. And here's the main quote I pulled from Roman Josi. He said a lot of really amazing things about Peccaryne, but here's the quote that really stuck with me. He said, quote, "Hardest working player I've ever seen, practicing like it's game 7.
Yep. He said when he first came into his first game or whatever and was playing in practice, he noticed that Pekka was working just as hard in practice. And it struck Roman Josi funny because he's like, this guy's like awesome and a professional, and he's practicing, like it's a game 7 is exactly like you said. So,
So that really stood out to me from Roman Josi's comments. And then, of course, Peccaryne himself said, oh, my gosh. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of video clips out there that you can search if you didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
But really the big one for me was the humility aspect of everything he said. He mentioned how playing in the NHL was a distant hope for him. Like he just basically hoped that he could maybe find a team in Europe somewhere, possibly. Or play for his hometown team in Finland is basically what he talked about.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, that was as far as his aspirations went, was his hometown. And he said the NHL seems so far away. So,
and let's remember our friend Lindsay's in here. Welcome, Lindsay, to the podcast. Good to see you here tonight. And she says, you never know who is watching and who ends up looking up to you or relates to you and your story. That's the amazing thing about sports.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just like, I mean, he's like the ultimate role model is really what I can get out of it. Like, I mean,
yep. Absolutely.
And then he also said he rounded that kind of statement up by saying it wasn't until getting drafted by the Predators that maybe the NHL was possible. Wow. Right. You want to talk about, again, tugging at your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah.
No ego involved there. Just like a guy who works hard, and he started seeing his dream come true. And eventually he became the most important part of NHL franchise ever.
Yeah. And the most, he's definitely the number one sports figure in Nashville.
In Nashville history. Yeah. That's
I would say, in history, probably, I would say, definitely.
Yeah. So, a really amazing ceremony. We're going to do our top Pekka memories later in this show, but let's go ahead and kind of keep an eye.
What this means.
We need a bang. We need a bang from my Twitter.
Yes, sir,
Oh,
boys.
and it's our boy Philip Tomasino.
Oh,
It's nice
look,
to see that.
look.
It's really nice to see that kid break through and get another goal.
I'm not there yet.
Let's see what happened here. Oh, okay.
Oh, was that a nice little toe drag?
That was. But can I say something else here? This is the second game in a row where Dante Fabro has made a really good outlet transition pass to spring a transition.
You're right. I did see the replay of that. You actually posted that. The replay of that last
so
Panthers.
So in the last game against the Florida Panthers, Dante Fabro did a pinpoint thread the needle type pass from the center ice to find a springing Tanner Jeannot. And this last pass he just made to put the Preds up 1-0 over the Stars wasn't as thread the needle as the last game, but it was still a really good pass. Yeah. And then Tomasino does the rest with his skating. Woo!
I love all you guys. Look, Lindsay, bang. Justin Gambino, what a goal. We interrupt this podcast with a bang. Justin Gambino, awesome.
Hey, so I think our next podcast T-shirt, our official podcast T-shirt,
bang, yes,
is just going to say "bang" on it with the Catfish on Ice logo.
Yep, that'd be perfect.
We're going to work on that, everybody. There's going to be a bang Catfish on Ice T-shirt coming.
Logan says, "Sorry, I forgot you're behind on the feed. I won't do it again." No, you do it. I love it. You hurt my feelings at all.
So unfortunately, my Twitter, Rich is way up there in Kentucky somewhere, and they just don't get the games as quick. Unfortunately,
I'm like 30 seconds behind every time, so I don't mind though. Right. You keep spilling the spoiling it. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
As long as the Preds win, you can spoil it all you want.
That is all I care about.
The funny part is, if you go back and listen to previous watch-alongs on this podcast, whenever the Preds give up a goal, I always spoil it for Rich, and Rich is always like, "Are you serious, man?" Like it's like I deflate his whole world. Like I'm Chad like the bear. I'm like the bear of bad news.
Chad goes, "Oh," and I just know automatically.
I gotta start sending him some false alarms.
Well, you did one time.
Just
something happened, and you kind of went, and I was like, "What did they score?" And you're like, "No, but something else bad happened." I don't remember what it was.
That's how these watch-alongs go. Like, I mean, that's why we call it a watch-along, is we're watching it with you.
Missy says, Smashville with a bang. I would buy that shirt.
We're working on it, Missy. We're going to work on that, actually. That's our next T-shirt.
Buy one. Justin said he'd buy one. Mike Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
We'll get it. We'll get it worked. We'll get with So Nashville or one of our other T-shirt vendors, and we'll see if we can make that happen.
That'd be awesome.
All right, so let's see what's going on here. We're coming up on the 6-minute mark of the first period. We got a penalty. This has been a fast-moving period, Rich.
It has. I'm surprised. I'm 50 seconds behind.
So we've got a penalty on the Preds. Preds heading to the box. They don't look very happy about it. Let's see what they're calling here. Maybe a slash or a hook.
Not sure.
I'm sorry. Slashing is what they're calling on Alexander Carrier. That is ticky-tack.
Well, that's about how things have been going lately.
Let's see what you think about it when it catches up to you, Rich. But I thought it was a very ticky-tack penalty, in my opinion. Like, you can call that like 30 times a game.
I call that. It was the last little bit, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, but you can call that like literally. That's a subjective penalty in my opinion. Like, I mean, it wasn't egregious. It was just like, okay, it's like holding in football.
Yeah.
They call holding whenever they feel like it. I feel like you can call that penalty whenever you feel like it. So, all right, Preds got a kill penalty here. The Stars have a really good power play.
They absolutely do
in the league. Like, you wouldn't expect a team like the Stars to be in the top 10 of the power play, but last time I checked, they were. They've got some really good goal scorers. Jason Robertson, who was in the – so anyone remember Jason Robertson? He was in the Calder Trophy hunt last year. This Jason Robertson kid for the Dallas Stars,
he's the real deal.
He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
He's absolutely the real deal.
And they still got their veterans that we know about. Tyler Sagan's starting to catch fire again. Rupe Hintz is an up-and-coming star in this league. I mean, no pun intended. No pun intended. Yeah. Well, John Klingberg, I could still see him getting traded when it's all said
me
and done.
too. Yeah. Joe Pavelski.
Joe
37
Pavelski, how
years
could you leave him
old,
out? Yeah.
Leads the team in points.
I'm telling you right now, if the Stars fall further, like let's say they drop out of the playoff hunt, like realistically out of the playoff hunt, they are going to be big sellers. Like they got some really key players that they will probably sell off to some contenders if they fall out of this playoff race. But they're still very much in it right now, though.
Yes.
All right. Preds trying to kill this penalty off here. They're doing a good job. You know what I'm seeing?
I like it.
You know what I'm seeing in this penalty kill from the Preds? They're in really good position. They're getting in shot lanes.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
The product to a really good penalty kill isn't always that you have to like lay out these big hits and do all these crazy things.
Oh.
It's being in position.
Just got to block the
It's
shot.
being in position to block shots, not leave the back door open per se. They did a good job there. So they kill off the first penalty of the night.
Oh, almost got a shorthand and goal.
I'm gonna call your cable provider, Rich, up in Kentucky, and I'm gonna tell them, hey, we gotta start getting these games a little bit more on schedule for Rich.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't even understand why.
So we got 3 jerseys in the background representing Peccaryne. I got mine in the background. You've got the Winter Classic Rinne jersey, which I envy. I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, it was a present. This was the first one I ever bought. Was this one when I started watching hockey again? It was a toss up between Rinne's jersey and another one I'm not going to mention. But
another. Oh no! Now you have to mention it.
I was actually gonna. So people that have listened in the past know that I like the Boston Bruins. So I was gonna get it as a Zdeno Chara jersey because I really like him a lot. I see him as kind of,
well, for sure,
a little bit meaner Peccaryne. He's a nice guy, but just don't cross him on the ice. But I had to go with the Rinne home jersey. So. Then
no one would hold it against you if you got a Zdeno Chara jersey.
Yeah.
He's one of our era of hockey, our generation of hockey. He is one of the better players that we've gotten a privilege to watch.
Yeah. But I'm glad I got this instead. I like this much
for sure. Oh yeah.
So
all right. So let's start Let's start listing off our top Peccaryne moments of all time.
Let's do it. You got the list.
All right, let's go.
You got 2 of the original jerseys. That's sweet. Awesome.
I'm going to start this. I'm going to start. We're not necessarily going in chronological order here, but I am going to kind of start in chronological order here with our first one. And that's an easy choice. It's Peccaryne's first game for the Predators. That we're talking about December 15th, 2005 was Peccaryne's first game. He beat the Chicago. He mentioned it in his speech, actually. He beat the Chicago Blackhawks of all teams. Perfect. Like if you're writing a novel about this whole story, how perfect is it that he beat the Chicago Blackhawks? Rich?
And he kind of like laughed about it a little bit.
Oh, well, the fans were laughing too, though. You could hear the fans. But so he made 35 saves on 38 shots in that game to get the win. Also, that was kind of right when the Preds were like starting to become playoff contenders.
Mm-hmm. They
were starting to get over that hump because the first like 4 or 5 years of the franchise, it was like, let's just try not to be in last place. I mean, it wasn't like the Vegas Golden Knights story of being an expansion team by any means.
Absolutely not.
It took a lot of time. And so this 2005 year was really when the Preds had a really good franchise or good roster where they could actually compete for the playoffs. And so in that game, not only did Peccaryne make 35 saves to get his first career win, but you had goal scorers from some pretty prominent and memorable Preds players. Paul Kariya had a goal in that game. Martin Erat had a goal. Vern Fiddler, for a lot of old school Preds fans, they know about Vern Fiddler. He scored. And Steve Sullivan had a shorthanded goal in that game.
Who was there tonight?
Yeah. And then Kimmo Timonen, I thought it was awesome to see Kimmo Timonen there tonight. He's one of the first Preds players I remember really cheering for, Kimmo Timonen, because I've been a fan since their first year. Yeah. I grew up in Nashville. I'm a Nashville native. And Kimmo Timonen, I remember, was one of the first players that was like, I really liked and cheered for him and David Legwand. of course, because David Legwand is the original draft pick. So you're going to hear a lot of David Legwand answers when you ask people who's your first favorite Preds player. It's going to be David Legwand. But yeah, so Kimmo Timonen had 2 assists in that game. So a lot of these old school good Preds players had a big impact in that game as well. But yeah, so that's my top. That's my first entry in our top Pekka Rinne moments. It just goes without saying his first career Preds win in 2005, all the way back.
All the way back. Awesome. Very awesome.
Just to show my age, I wasn't even graduated from high school yet, Rich.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right, throw us our next Preds memory, man.
Oh, I don't have them. I thought you wrote the list down. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have the list.
My bad. Well, damn, man.
My bad.
It's okay. I got you. My next one here on the list is when the Preds made it to the Stanley Cup against the Anaheim Ducks. In that game, this is on May 22nd, 2017. Peccaryne made 38 saves in that game. I remember watching that game in this so I was at Fleet Street Pub. And if anyone knows about downtown Nashville, you have a place called Printer's Alley, which is like this little alley of bars and restaurants. And it's like a little hidden treasure right off Broadway. There's a place called Fleet Street Pub. And it's like a little British style pub that you have to walk downstairs and go underground to get to. We were watching the game at this place, and there was probably maybe 30 people. It wasn't packed, but it was like we were all watching it. There were even some tourists in there who weren't even cheering for the Preds necessarily.
Oh, wow.
But we were in there. We're watching the game. We're totally into it. It's me and like 3 or 4 friends. And I remember Pekka Rinne just making so many crazy saves, saves that he had no business making, right? And we were like, this is it. We did not want any part of going to a game 7 against the Anaheim Ducks.
No.
Like, we just felt like if it went to a game 7, we weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
So our game 6 against the Ducks really felt like a game 7. And so Peccaryne ends up helping us get over the finish line, and we beat the Ducks. We're going to the Cup final. We didn't even know our opponent yet because the Penguins and the Senators still hadn't played their elimination game yet. So we were like, who are we going to play at that point? But I just remember everyone was tagging hands, hugging each other. I know some diehard hockey fans in the big markets are going to probably laugh at me for saying this, but it really felt like we won the Cup. I know we didn't, but it felt that way for a franchise like the Predators, a young franchise where we've never, ever tasted that kind of success. It was a really big deal. And Peccaryne helped push us over the hump in that game. So that's my next entry.
Yeah. It strikes me funny that you're saying names like the Anaheim Ducks and the Ottawa Senators playing to go to the Stanley Cup. You don't really see that much anymore.
No. Well, the Anaheim Ducks are getting a little better.
Anaheim.
It's crazy how quick it can change. That's 5 years ago, and it's crazy how quick it can change. Yeah,
exactly, definitely.
But yeah, that was crazy, man. Because the Anaheim Ducks were also a very bitter rival at that point. They were kind of like our thorn. We had knocked them out one time in the playoffs before, but yeah.
Missy said she's been a Preds fan since '98, and almost cried when they didn't win the Stanley Cup. I don't know if you saw earlier. Missy actually lives in Canada.
Oh, nice.
Another Canadian.
We're glad you're joining us tonight, Missy. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that I feel the same way, Missy. That was like when they lost to the Penguins. And if anyone remembers that, I really don't want to remember it right now because we're honoring Peccaryne.
Right.
But Peccaryne played incredible in that game 6 elimination game against the Penguins. It was a 0-0 game heading into the last minute of regulation, people.
Yep.
And Rinne was having a great game. Neither team could score. It was like back and forth, that proverbial game where it feels like it shouldn't be 0-0, but it was 0-0.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the Penguins scored on this weird fluke goal where the puck kind of ricocheted off the backboard behind Pekka and somehow bounced in past him. And, you lose 1-0, and it still rips at me. I really don't want to think about that right now.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
But yeah.
It's okay. Mike Twitter says one of his favorite moments was when he made the save with the knob of his stick. They actually showed that during the ceremony.
That was Mike Twitter.
Pretty amazing. And then Justin says, during the cup run against the Blackhawks, I worked at a recording studio in Nashville, and I got laughed at the entire week in game 1 of round 1 about how confident I was about the Preds.
Wow.
You were right. You were right, Justin. That's for sure.
So, Justin, I will go ahead and be honest here. I did not share your confidence at that time. I was just hoping that the Preds – I was just hoping that the Preds could, make it interesting. But I did not feel good about it at all because if you remember, the Preds barely even snuck into the playoffs that year. They got in in the last week or two of the season. They snuck in, and then you draw the Blackhawks in the first. The Blackhawks were still very much considered like a dynasty Stanley Cup caliber team, and the fact that they swept them. Trivia question for everybody. I'm going to ask it right now. Let's see if our commenters who can answer it first. All right. Who scored the first goal of that playoff series against the Blackhawks? I'll let that simmer a little bit. Let's see if we can get some answers.
Lindsay said she was rooting for them in 2017, even before she was a Preds fan.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean,
and it's kind of weird, right, Lindsay?
Against the Blackhawks, I mean, you got to cheer for any team that's playing them almost. But yeah. All right. Wait, see if we can get some answers for that. Some entries on who scored the first goal for the Preds in that playoff series against the Blackhawks. Game 1, the Preds scored really fast in game 1, actually. I think they scored in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. They scored really quick. Let's see if anyone can answer it.
I don't know the answer. You've probably asked before. I just don't remember.
All right. Let's go to another Pekka memory while we're waiting to see if we can get some answers on that. Let's see. Let's talk easily Vezina Trophy winning Peccaryne on June 20th, 2018.
Yep.
Long time coming, right? I mean, we all feel like Peccaryne should have won a Vezina Trophy way before that. He was nominated a couple times before that. But Peccaryne came up in an era of really great goaltenders. I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, we've all looked at the list of great goaltenders that Peccaryne was playing alongside during his run. But was definitely nominated and was definitely in the running for the Vezina Trophy almost every year he was in his heyday. I mean, so the fact that he only won one is kind of insane to even think about.
Yeah, it is kind of strange.
But it was awesome to see him finally get one in 2018. That was the Vezina Trophy, or that was the President's Trophy year for the Predators. They had a they were unstoppable that regular season. I mean, then unfortunately they caught the President's Trophy curse and lost in Game 7 in the second round to the Winnipeg Jets. But yeah, that's got to be
President's Trophy. Is that what happened? Did one of them touch it on accident?
Well, that's where the banner jokes came from. Was that year the Preds had a banner ceremony with the Western Conference champions and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean that was that's got to be one of your top memories for Pekka is winning the Vezina Trophy.
Yeah, definitely. That was another cool thing from the ceremony tonight was they had all his trophies lined up on the ice, which that was pretty neat. So yeah, it's a little strange that he only won one. I mean, it's hard to win those, but he's definitely had a career where he should have won at least one more. But what are you gonna do?
And then speaking of that, go back to all the players that were there. Let's circle back around to UC Saros. That's another time where I almost really lost it and started crying. Because when they showed him, you want to talk about a player who was a mentor to his predecessor, the player that's going to be taking over for him. And you see this all the time, Rich, in other sports. You see it a lot in football where the starting quarterback, you get this quarterback battle. And it's this young guy's coming up behind me and you don't always get that relationship because it's competition and you're just like, hey, you're coming for my job. Like back up. Like you're coming for my job. Like I'm not going to like, like, but the relationship between Peccaryne and UC Soros from the beginning was always extremely close.
Yes. And that's what is cool about hockey is those guys have those relationships. I seem to remember when Brett Favre was still playing football.
That's the top example, Rich.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, it was Aaron Rodgers, right? Was it when they drafted Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. Brett Favre was like, I'm not paid to train him or have any kind of relationship with him. So, he's trying to get my job. Hockey players just aren't wired like that. So it's definitely, awesome to hear stories like that.
You see it sometimes in football. Like sometimes you'll see like that relationship, but you don't ever see it on the level of Peccaryne and UC Soros.
Yeah, exactly.
You really don't.
Yeah. So we got a couple of people with some answers to your question here.
All right.
So Mike Twitter says,
I trust that none of you cheated.
Mike Twitter said, mine would be a guest. RV is my go-to as well, but I'll give it a long shot and say Mikko Salamaki. Oh. And then Missy says Forsberg keeps coming to my mind as an answer, but I'm not sure it's right.
Okay.
And then Justin says, I almost guessed Joey at first because Johansson was awesome for the Preds till that run till he got hurt. So you got quite a few guesses.
Good guesses, everybody. Good guesses. But I'm telling you right now, I'm guessing that's all of our guesses. All right. It was actually Victor Arvidsson that scored first.
Oh, so Mike Twitter should have went with his first.
And it wasn't really like the prettiest goal either. It was very much like one of those, like you squeak it by the goaltender type of thing. You could probably look it up pretty easily if you just typed it in, but it was actually Victor Arvidsson. And if I remember correctly, I'll have to go back and look, but I want to say that was a very low scoring game. I
don't know.
We'll pull it up to see exactly what the final score was in that game. But it was one of those games where that goal ended up being like very crucial to the rest of how that series went, and it was like not a pretty goal by any means, but Victor Arvidsson got the goal. We still miss you, RV.
Oh yeah.
But
definitely.
Yes, that was the answer to that question.
So Lindsay Rowley and Terry Crisp are interviewing Pekka right now. That's pretty cool.
He's probably the way Peccaryne carries himself and the way he's so like humble. He's probably like, can y'all just like get the spotlight off of me so I can go like, I get a vibe that he's probably like, cause I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I don't like I hate birthday songs. Like if I go out to a restaurant, if someone calls the birthday crew, like I'm like, so imagine how someone like Peccaryne feels like. I know he appreciates it and he loves it, but like, I'm just saying like, he's probably like, he doesn't strike me as the type that has the ego, where he's like, everyone praise me and everyone,
So they were, Lindsay Rowley and Terry Crisp were joking about Terry Crisp's banner was out at the dry cleaners or whatever, and that's why it wasn't hanging in the arena. But I would venture to guess when he retires at the end of the season, I would say they're probably going to hang some kind of banner up in Bridgestone for him as well. So
yeah, you would think so. You would think he might. So. You would think he's hopefully maybe now. I would definitely be all on board with retiring Shea Weber's jersey. But and then also you got.
I was talking about Terry Crisp.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Terry Crisp too.
But Weber, like if he came back, yeah, that'd be cool.
But you also got the announcement that Peccaryne is getting a bronze statue in the Bridgestone Arena Plaza.
Well deserved.
It's always been speculated. It's always been like, yes, build a statue for Peccaryne. We would joke around about it. Even when he was playing, we would always joke around about it. We'd be like, give Peccaryne a statue. Well, guess what? It's actually happening. He's going to get a statue. Happening. I think I saw that maybe it'll be erected in 2023.
Yeah, 2022, 23. Yeah. So that'll be exciting and worth a trip to go down to check that out. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I went back and looked up at that game 1 against the Blackhawks in 2017, and that was a 1-0 final score, Rich. I couldn't remember exactly what the final score was, but it was crazy. A 1-0 final score.
Scored in the first 2 minutes.
Victor Arvidsson was the only goal scorer. He actually didn't score that quick. I got the timing wrong there. He scored in the first 8 minutes, so I was a little off there. But still, he was the only goal scorer in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's look it up here. Peccaryne made 29 saves on 29 shots.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big fat shutout. So awesome. And
of course, the joke about that series has always been, I'm never going to waste an opportunity to laugh at the expense of the Blackhawks. But their playoff motto that year was 1 goal.
There you go.
And so everyone was trolling them after that game that they didn't even score 1 goal.
Yep. The mighty Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah. So actually, you know what's really crazy? Here's where the jokes really started flowing, Rich. Their motto was 1 goal. And in game 2, they lost 5-0. So in the first 2 games, at home, the mighty Blackhawks did not score a goal in that series.
That's amazing.
And so you want to talk about the trolls coming out and the people dogging them that their playoff motto was 1 goal, and they didn't score 1 goal in their first 2 games at home against the. Oh my gosh,
that's
an 8 seed versus a 1 seed. You can't score 1 goal at home in the first 2 games of the playoffs.
Yep.
That was the beginning of the end of the Blackhawks as we know it right now. Just saying.
Yes, definitely. Shell of their former selves, that's for sure. So a lot of work to do for that team to get back to their former glory.
And in that game, Peccaryne made 30 saves on 30 shots. So he saved 59 of his first 59 shots in games 1 and 2.
Yep.
Hard to beat that.
That's why that 35 is hanging in Bridgestone right now. One of the reasons.
And then how can we leave out the goalie goal, Rich? I know that's really important to you.
I watched that live. That was very awesome. I looked it up. 13 players in the NHL, goaltenders, have scored a goal. Oh gosh, the guy Marty Brodeur, he scored a couple. I think he's got like 2 of them, but very rare occurrence. Chris Mason got one. His wasn't an actual, like, it wasn't like Pekka's that went straight in or whatever, but it still counted. That I just remember like Chris Mason was like going nuts on the broadcast. He was like hitting Willie Don. He's like, oh my gosh, screaming. It was really cool. It was really awesome. And then people started taking the video and they made the puck really big on the video. So when he shot it, it turned into a big, huge puck and went into the net, just different stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. That's one of my
that was January 9th, 2020. Again, at the expense of the Blackhawks. So I just love all these memories at the expense of the Blackhawks.
Yep.
But yeah, January 9th, 2020. That was John Hines' first win as coach, right?
I believe you're right. I think it was. Yep.
Yeah. So
Logan
Peter Laviolette had just been fired. The team was kind of a mess and disarray at that time.
Yep.
Let's see. Logan Hall says Preds really put the Chelsea dagger through their hearts and into them forever. That's a mic drop there, Logan. That's good. I like that.
Pretty good.
I actually like that song too. Like that's from the Fratellis, if I remember correctly. That's such a good song. I used to love that song, and now every time I hear it, all I can think about is the Blackhawks, and it's such a good song.
Yeah. We actually did a episode. I don't remember what number it was, where we talked about the best goal songs.
Gosh. We got to go way back. We got to go way back in the archive for that one, Rich.
It's been a while, but it was good.
That's like we're talking like what? How far back would we have to go, Rich? I don't even know.
The 70s, 60s, maybe
70s. I don't even know. I literally don't even have a guess. But yeah, we did do a segment on the best goal songs and the worst goal songs in the NHL.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
what was the number one was Seattle Krakens. They had the best one.
Okay.
We decided.
Speaking of which, because we're all about humility here, and we're talking about humility, and Peccaryne is the embodiment of humility and being humble. Rich, the other day, for whatever reason, I went back and listened to some of our early episodes. I'm talking like the first 10 episode. Whoa! Have we come a long way, good sir? Some of those early episodes are rough.
Speaking for myself, I know that the things that I said were pretty stupid.
So
you always do a good job carrying everything.
But I went back and listened to some of them, and all I can say is anyone who's stuck with us through it all, we appreciate you. It just goes to show you that you get better with time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those early episodes are bare bones. The content's there. There's good content, but wow. But it just goes to show you, just like Peccaryne said tonight, you get better and better, and good things can happen.
I was super, super nervous. I will tell you that.
You weren't the only one.
Oh my gosh.
The only one.
Yeah, I was like, what am I even talking about? What am I even doing? I don't have any business doing this.
All right, so we're in the first intermission here. Preds are up 1-0. Philip Tomasino got the goal. Good to see Philip Tomasino, his 7th of the year. Fabro with the assist. Like I said, Fabro's been threading the needle with some of these assists lately.
Good to see.
So
good to see.
He's actually set a career high this year in points.
Has he really?
So it's good to see Fabro trending up in that direction. I've always said that Dante Fabro, the one thing you're wanting to see from Fabro, especially this season, is you want to see his offensive game take a step forward.
Yes.
I've always been a big Fabro supporter. I think he gets way too much criticism from a lot of people. He was thrown into the fire so early.
Yeah, especially for how young he is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's always been that idea for me, like, give the guy some time. He's going to figure it out. He's going to get better. He does a lot of really good things defensively. He's beyond his years in the way he plays defensively on the blue line. You're not going to – I mean, there's plenty of stats to support that. And so it's nice to see his offensive game still trending upward. I know we would like to see maybe a little bit more goals, but not every player is going to be a goal scorer. I think people need to understand that.
No.
And so, yeah.
David Poyle's like, we have one of the most charismatic defenders in the league, and PK Subban, we're going to trade him because we've got Dante Fabro, first year in the NHL. Let's bring him in.
Exactly. He got thrown in there right away. He played with PK Subban for a little bit. Yeah, he was thrown in there really soon, really quick.
Yep.
And so, so it's good to see him get on the stat sheet tonight with an assist. Let's see. Some of the numbers going on right now. 9-8 shots on goal favor the Preds. Face-off circle favors the Preds. How about Colton Sissons the other night?
Yeah.
He went perfect in the face-off circle. And I think I saw 16 out of 16, or it was 13 out of 13. It was something.
16 or 17. I don't remember which one it was.
And I even saw, I didn't get it verified, but I even saw some people throw out that it was maybe top 10 best performances in NHL history in the face-off circle.
I remember seeing some kind of record, but
I can't verify that. I can't verify that. I didn't do deep digging on whether that's true or not, but either way. Wow.
On the broadcast, man, they got Toots. That's awesome. Jordan Tutu's on there.
It's great to see him there as well. Another really important, vital part of the history of the Preds.
Yes. And
all right, we're underway in the second period here, so the Preds are still up 1-0. We'll keep an eye on the game. We'll keep reacting to it as we go along here. We appreciate you joining us. This is episode 108 of Catfish on Ice, live watch along of the Preds and the Stars as we react to the Peccaryne jersey retirement ceremony. A huge night for the franchise, for the city, for the fan base. They panned around the arena. They zoomed in on some fans who were wiping away tears. You saw coaches wiping away tears. You heard David Poyle getting choked up. It looked like Shea Weber was fighting the tears. I mean, it was really awesome. They even showed Ryan Suter wearing the Dallas Stars hat sitting on the bench because Ryan Suter was part of the early Peccaryne days as well. And he was kind of like, it was, I mean, a lot of Preds fans cannot stand Ryan Suter, including me, because he kind of kicked the franchise. He kind of like threw the franchise under the bus on his way out. He was very disrespectful and stuff. And so
I think a lot of the Stars were watching, though. I saw Joe Pavelski.
They were. Well, they know. They know what they're witnessing. They know that they're witnessing one of the greats.
I'm sure Alexander Radulov was watching.
Yeah. All right,
Another
Rich.
former Predator that
Rich,
people
I
don't
hate to
like.
break it to you. Shield your eyes. The Stars are on the board. Yeah, that was the Stars were they've come out in this second period and they were really kind of putting it on the Preds here. Just the Preds couldn't get the puck. They couldn't get the puck back in their zone. They were kind of getting thrown around. And hey, I've already mentioned this player earlier in the show. Jason Robertson, I'm telling you, he's a sneaky good player. Yep. He's going to be a really good player.
Yep.
He already is a really good player, actually, but he's going to keep getting better. That's Jason Robertson's 22nd goal of the season. That was just a matter of the Preds the Stars just owned the possession of the zone, and the Preds could not get it back. Tough break there. We're tied 1-1. No one thought this was going to be an easy game. So
no, it's definitely not going to be easy.
We're in it here. It's always a really tough back and forth game when these two teams play each other.
Yep.
You can always count on it.
Yep. The shots are only 10-9, and we're 2 minutes into the second period. So good defensive game.
And I've said this all year, Rich. The Stars are better than their record.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
The Stars are one of those teams, if they get into the playoffs, nobody is going to want to play them in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm being dead serious. Like, they're going to be a team that nobody's going to want to play because they've got a lot of really good, savvy young veterans, and they've got a blend of young players. They've got some decent goaltending. They know their window is closing. They're going to be a really hungry team if they make it into the playoffs and possibly go on a run, pull off an upset. You don't want any part of them in the first round. Everyone involved would rather them just not make it at all, and they just become sellers. That's what everyone wants.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they're always tough. I mean, anytime the Predators and Dallas play, it's usually, for the most part, pretty rough game. But
it was never a rivalry until 2019. I mean, it was like they were always a team. It's like, yeah, they're in our division or whatever, or they're a Western Conference rival. But I mean, Preds fans never looked at the Stars as like a rival. But when the Stars came in 2019 and knocked the Preds out of the first round, the Preds were up 2-1 in that series.
Yep.
And then the Stars proceeded to win 3 in a row. They ran Peccaryne out of the game, if I remember correctly, and Saros had to come in.
I think you're right. Yep.
I want to say I hate to say this because we're honoring Rinne tonight, but Rinne gave up like 5 goals or in the first period or something like that, something crazy. Yep. But it was also a product of the Preds were in the penalty box. Like they took like 6 or 7 penalties, or it was something crazy. And the game just went off the rails. And that was kind of like the beginning of the end when it came to, is it time to tear this team down a little bit? Because the Stars ended up winning in 6 games. And I mean, it's just, so the Stars really have like a bad taste in my mouth because of that.
Oh yeah. That's funny. You said it was the beginning of when the team needed to be tore apart a little bit, but they didn't tear them apart. That's probably when it should have started.
Well, they didn't tear them apart, but they did make some serious decisions this past offseason that we're seeing.
Yeah.
For instance, they protected Tanner Jeannot. That's proven to be a really smart decision. They traded Ryan Ellis. I know everybody loves Ryan Ellis. I love Ryan Ellis. That ended up being a very smart trade.
Yeah, he hasn't played for a very long time for Philadelphia.
Now, you can argue about the Victor Arvidsson trade because Victor Arvidsson's having a good year for LA.
He is. So I think that's change of scenery.
You can make an argument for that, but what the Preds didn't completely tear it down, but what they did do in the offseason is they made room for other players to come up, most notably Philip Tomasino.
Yes. They finally made a permanent spot for Eeli Tolvanen, so that was awesome.
Yakov Trenin. There's room for him now. So, so that's kind of the major part of it that they did, but it wasn't a complete teardown by any means.
No.
All right, so the Stars are really starting to put the pressure right now on the Preds. Like the Preds got to tighten up. They got to weather this storm a little bit. It's still a 1-1 game, but Saros just had to make a really, really difficult save. on a rush from the Stars. So
just saw it.
All right, if you're doing the watch along with us right now, go ahead and comment in the stream. Let us know what you're seeing in this game. Let us know what your top thoughts are from the game. How are the Preds looking? Do you think they need to change something? Who's sticking out as far as players? We want to know what you're thinking from this game right now.
Yep.
We also got to do our battle for the Central Power Rankings tonight, Rich. Can't forget about those.
Got that ready to go.
Let's talk about the Panthers game real quick.
Because that'd be good.
That was a wild game, man. That was maybe one of the craziest games of the year so far as just, I mean, the Preds had to come back 3 different times in that game.
Absolutely.
On the scoreboard. At one point, they fell behind 3-1.
Yes.
The game started off really, really ugly. The Panthers scored on the power play. They were doing whatever they wanted offensively, and it just looked like according to script. It was going according to script. Like, we even previewed the game a little bit the night before in episode 107, and me and you both admittedly had no confidence that the Preds would win.
It was very low, that's for sure.
It wasn't even low, Rich. It was like at the bottom for me.
Like non-existent. Oh, Preds going on the power play?
Yeah, we got a 4-minute power play. Okay.
Yeah, because Jamie Benn just smacked Myers right in the face with a stick.
All right, we'll take that. They better make the most of it, though. I mean,
I can't even stand to look at Jamie Benn's face.
Really?
I do not like him.
Wow, I don't have that big of a problem with him.
It all started from the last time that the Predators played. When they played last time, when he was trying to fight Yakov Trenin.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Got under my skin a lot.
Jamie Benn comes off as a player that's incredibly frustrated right now. And that doesn't give him the excuse to be like a jackass in the middle of a game. But I do respect Jamie Benn's career. He's been he's been a really good player in his career. He's done a lot of really amazing things. He's played for the same team his entire career, which I'm always going to respect a player when they stick with their team and they try to do something special for their team. And I mean, he is a really special, good player. It's just, I can tell that he's frustrated and he feels that their window's closing.
Father Time is catching up with him. That's for
Logan
sure.
Hall says, man, that goaltender interference call in the Panthers game, I was so heated. I walked away from my room for like 10 minutes. Yeah. That game had so many weird turning points. The play that Logan's talking about was Luke Cunnin broke into the crease, was fighting for the puck, and they said that he pushed Bobrovsky off. And you know what? I've been on the wrong end of a lot of goalie interference calls for this Preds team. Yeah. That one right there, I didn't feel good about it. I really didn't. Like, he did impede Bobrovsky's ability to make a save. He
was pushing him in the crotch with his stick.
Yeah,
like pushing.
But that was a rough time in the game because if I remember correctly, the Panthers had just went up 4-3.
Yes, and that would have been the tying goal.
And at that time in the game, in the third period.
Yes.
It kind of felt like the Preds were just going to run out of gas. It really felt like the Preds just weren't going to be able to do enough to get the win. We were going to be stuck with one of those quote-unquote moral victories, which everyone hates. No one likes moral victories. And it felt like that's how the game was going to end up. Yep. And
I think that goal was around that goal was like around the 11-minute mark of the third period.
Well, right before that, Rich, here's what really made it sting. Right before that, the Panthers scored on a play where David Riddick thought he smothered the puck, and the puck somehow like squeaked up under his pads, or it was just like many weird things.
He was heated, that's for sure.
So many weird sequence of events happened all in a row.
Yeah, it was really strange. But,
emotional roller coaster is really how you describe that game. Emotional roller coaster.
Definitely.
But Tanner Jeannot ends up scoring the shorthanded goal.
First of the season.
I'm calling it breakaway goal. I'm calling it goal of the year for the Preds. I know I'm prisoner of the moment here, probably. That's my goal of the year for the Preds. There's some other good ones you can throw in the comments, but
it was good.
I mean, he broke loose there and got one-on-one with Bobrovsky and beats him backhand, clean as clean can get. Yep. I mean, it was just a beaut to watch, and we were tied 4-4.
I can't remember who the trailing Panthers player was, but he actually hit Jeannot with his stick as he was getting ready to shoot the puck. I don't think that's really cool. I know they do it all the time, like tap each other, but to try to get in their heads. But I don't know.
I think they were pretty frustrated. They were definitely frustrated. They gave up that goal. And then, so it was 4-4 game. And then that's when the rest is history. I mean, that's when the Preds really started seeing things bounce their way. Mikael Granlund got a goal after that, a power play goal to make it 5-4. And then Tanner Jeannot got the empty netter. So the Preds ended up winning 6-4 and got a enormous win to break their losing streak and beat one of the best teams in the league.
Definitely.
That was Florida's 4th home loss of the year and only their 11th loss in regulation of the year.
That's crazy. That's insane.
So I mean, you're
playing that well.
It's another example that the Preds can beat anyone in the league, but they can also lose to anyone in the league.
Yep.
Because the Preds have lost. I hate to remind everybody, but the Preds have also lost to the Canadiens this season. They've lost to the Buffalo Sabres this season. They've lost to the Chicago Blackhawks this season. So, I mean, it's like sometimes you really don't know what to expect from this team.
Yep. And then Lindsay wants us to talk about the 44 saves for Dave Riddick. It was amazing.
It was
Dave. Oh my gosh, he played so well.
Everyone understood why David Riddick's nickname is Big Save Dave. He absolutely was the main reason why the Preds won that game.
Yep. And kudos to that dude because he hadn't played, I think they said, since what was it, like January?
It was his 3rd start since December 30th. I know that for sure. It was his 3rd start.
Yeah, so
he had 2 starts in 2 months, basically.
That's to come in and be thrown to the second best team in the league.
I'm telling you right now, if Dave Riddick somehow doesn't come in sharp and he's rusty, then the Panthers are scoring 7 or 8 goals in that game easy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't get mixed up with the fact that he gave up 4 goals.
No.
I mean, the 4 goals he gave up were 4 really difficult saves and kind of fluky scenarios, especially the one where he thought he had the puck covered or whatever. To hold the Panthers to 3 or 4 goals is not an easy task for any goaltender in this league, especially one who is rarely starting and only getting like 1 start a month right now.
Yes.
So David Riddick was just absolutely spectacular in that game.
We actually talked about it in the last episode. The Panthers are like capable of putting 7, 8, 9 goals up on a team easy without even thinking about it. So
what do we got? This power play right here, Rich, is just not working at all. I mean, you got a 4-minute power play. It's a big part of the game where you can get the lead back, and it's just not working. I mean, the Preds power play is not been as smooth as it once was earlier in the season. It's been very wishy-washy.
Yeah, it's just one of the other things that they needed to work on. That's for sure.
I mean, you give credit to the Stars because they're kind of plugging up the zone. They're not allowing anything to get set up at all. Yeah. But you've got a little over a minute left on this 4-minute power play, and I haven't seen the Preds put any pressure on the Stars penalty kill on this long power play. I mean, it's kind of been a dud. It's been a complete dud.
And you got the top line out there right now, and they're not getting it done. Lindsay said that was easily Dave's best game of the season. I would tend to agree.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely awesome.
But it just goes to show you what we've been kind of preaching for a while now is Riddick needs more starts. I mean, we all believe in Saros, and we think he's one of the best goaltenders in the league. But that doesn't mean that your backup goaltender, who is very capable and has shown that he's a worthy starter in this league, doesn't mean you just leave him on the bench to get rusty for months at a time. Yeah.
Lindsay had told us, she's like the biggest David Riddick fan in the world, that he needs some starts to stay fresh. And he hasn't been getting them, but man, he was definitely on his game against Florida, that's for sure, which was awesome to see.
This power play has been very frustrating to watch, Rich. Like, it's just not.
I'm assuming it's over by now. I'm showing
it's not working at all.
20
They just had nothing. That's a big wasted opportunity to have a 4-minute power play in a game like this, and just not even really test the goaltender at all. Like, I mean, it was just not. It was not good. So if you're going to win games like this, you got to take advantage of that. I mean, we've been talking about it all year, about how the Preds are always on the wrong side of penalties and they're constantly killing off penalties. Well, you just got a good opportunity there in your advantage to get a goal and get back to the lead in a critical game, and the power play was not working there. So
they actually had a 4-minute and then a 2-minute. So they had like 6 minutes and they couldn't score.
Yeah, well, not good at all. Yeah. So they didn't even really get any shots on goal in that power play. That's the worst part, is they didn't even test the goaltender.
Yep. Definitely.
This is kind of going like every Preds Stars game, to be quiet. This is like how every Preds Stars game goes. I mean, it's just like not a lot of room to operate on the ice. Like there's just like a lot of hard hitting. You're going to have to work for every inch of the ice. And that's really how it's going. It's like a battle of attrition. It's really a battle of which goaltender flinches first. And like a game like this, 3 goals might be enough to win.
Yeah. We're 7 minutes left in the second period and the shots are 12-12. So that's
completely different. It's a completely different style of game from the Florida Panthers game on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a different flow. It's a completely different flow.
We just need them to get.
And you're talking about two teams that know each other very, very well.
They do.
I mean, these teams really know each other like the back of their hand. I mean,
last season.
I mean, can you imagine another 7-game series between these two teams?
Oh, man.
Ooh.
No. The Preds probably would want that, though. Get a little revenge. That's for sure.
So the Preds are now officially 0 for 4 on the power play tonight.
Bummer.
That might drop. That's going to really. We talked about it all year. We're like, can the Preds stay in the top 10 of the power play? That 0 for 4 mark's probably. I don't know if you want to check and see where they're at now, Rich.
Yeah,
but going into tonight's game, but 0 for 4 might drop them out of the top 10. I don't know.
I think it just might. Where is it at?
God, the Preds also have 13 giveaways already this game. I mean, that's just like that crushes your momentum.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, let's start previewing this Stadium Series game, Rich.
Oh yeah.
While we're in this second period, looks like Matt Duchene is in the penalty box. That's not good. So looks like the Preds are about to have to kill a penalty off. All right, so we got the Stadium Series in 48 hours from now. They've already laid the ice down. They've already given the weather report. I saw Chris Johnston.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He brought up that the ice looks good. That even though Nashville has had some rainy weather lately, that he thinks that the ice is going to be in good condition. And so that's good to hear, because we've always been worried. Here was his tweet earlier tonight. He said, "There's been rain in Nashville this week, but with temperatures near freezing, it's helped, not hurt the temporary ice sheet at Nissan Stadium. The conditions are looking good for Saturday's Stadium Series game between the Preds and the Tampa Bay Lightning."
There you go. The Predators are still in 8th place on the power play.
But that was before their 0 for 4 marker.
But that was before today.
So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens tonight.
Right. But yeah, so this Stadium Series game, again, we're going to remind you, you're gonna have to download the podcast the next day on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast. It's also on our YouTube channel right now. The full interview is on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it. Yep. So go check it out there too for anyone who's watching right now live. Or if you're listening on tomorrow, the next day, then go to our YouTube channel if you want to check out the interview. But we had Lightning Insider join us, Eric Erlandson, who covers the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's been covering the Tampa Bay Lightning for 20 years. He used to write for the Tampa Bay Tribune. Now he has his own website covering the Tampa Bay Lightning. He joined us for about a 25-minute segment. We got into how the Tampa Bay Lightning are looking this year, their quest for a three-peat, their top storylines, what he thinks about this matchup with the Predators, all that good stuff. It was a really good interview. We really appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule to join the podcast. So
definitely
check that out. You have multiple ways to check it out.
I'm not really sure what that penalty's for. Oh, well.
We find ourselves saying that a lot about the Preds, right? And penalties.
That's true. Here's somebody's new here. Go Stars, but respect to the Preds. Well, thank you very much,
all right. Hey,
we appreciate that.
JC24, thank you for the kind words.
Absolutely.
You know what? To his point, I do think there's a mutual respect between the Stars and the Preds.
Yeah,
for the most part. You're talking about two Southern teams who played in the Winter Classic, and that Winter Classic was memorable. And all of your traditional hockey snobs thought that there shouldn't be a Winter Classic in the South, that they thought it wouldn't work. They were like hockey at the Cotton Bowl, blah, blah, blah. And that was one of the better Winter Classics I've ever seen.
I liked it.
And I'm not just saying it because the Preds were in it, because obviously I could say I hated it because of the result. But I mean, I think the mutual respect comes from there. I do think that both fan bases don't like each other, but I think there's a mutual respect.
I would agree with that. I don't absolutely hate the Stars. I know a lot of people do, but it's just some of the things I see. But it's usually when they're playing the Predators. So
that's true.
That's usually when you get the maddest. If you watch them, like if it was the Stars playing the Ducks or something weird, I don't know. I'd be like, go Stars. But
all right, so we're playing the Tampa Bay Lightning this Saturday. On paper, obviously on paper, they are the favorites, the heavy favorites. But guess who else was a heavy favorite? Guess who else was a heavy favorite, Rich? The Florida Panthers on Tuesday. So don't tell me that we can't turn around and beat the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They can. They're definitely capable of doing that.
I mean, I can't wait to see that stadium. Now, I will say, Lightning Insider, Eric from Lightning Insider, on the interview, I'll share a little bit of it. He told me that he expects between 15 and 20,000 Lightning fans at the game.
That's cool.
That's not cool, Rich. That's not cool.
Well, doesn't that place hold how many fans does it hold?
We're upper 60s.
Oh, okay. Well,
under 70. So we're talking a third.
I thought it was really 70.
That really plays into my question on the Preds confidence meter for episode 107, where I said 75%.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
But I think there's going to be a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning fans. There obviously is going to be a lot of Lightning fans here. Why wouldn't you take a reason? It's not that long of a trip. I just made the drive, and obviously there's this thing called airplanes these days. So I'm sure a lot of people will fly up here, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really insane atmosphere. It's going to be fun. I do think you can say throw the records out of the book a little bit, out of the book, because I do think it's going to be one of those crazy games where you're going to be under the stadium lights. And me and Eric talked about that a little bit in our interview. We were like, look, under the stadium lights, some of these Tampa Bay players have never played an outdoor game before. It's just a lot different.
It is different. And that's what's cool is, I mean, I know they're the away team or whatever, but this is Tampa's Stadium Series game too. You know what I mean? Like it's an exciting thing for them. And that's kind of, even though, you do play as an away team, the Predators did that against Dallas for the Winter Classic. It's still special, and it's something, to enjoy just for the, being a hockey fan. So,
yeah. So Tampa Bay is 33-11-6 on the season. Here's another thing I learned from our interview with Eric. Tampa Bay, to their credit, they have dealt with a lot of injuries this season. And they have somehow still managed to hang around the top and be one of the better teams. Nikita Kucherov has missed a lot of time.
Mhm.
They lost Braden Point for a amount of time. Like they've lost some of really important players to their team for stints of time this season. And so they've managed to hang around. And we really got into the Eastern Conference race and how stacked the Eastern Conference is. And when you really break it down, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Pittsburgh Penguins, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers. You're talking about so many teams that are viable Stanley Cup contenders in the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Whereas the Western Conference is a little bit more top heavy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The Western Conference is really more about Colorado Avalanche and everybody else.
That's exactly right. You're 100% correct there.
So
it's like, who's going to have to play Colorado in the West? That's who's going to draw that short straw. I actually watched Tampa Bay play last night. They played Edmonton. They still look good.
Oh, yeah. They're not going anywhere.
When you got like Pat Maroon scored a goal, like that tells you something right there. If that dude can still score. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at their overall stats. I mean, it's not like they're just like at the very top in any of these categories. I mean, they're 18th in power play percentage. They're 14th in penalty kill. They're 7th in the league in goals per game. Doesn't surprise you at all. And they're top 10 in goals against per game. So they're top 10 in the two key categories of scoring and defensively. So, but their power play is not like their power play is bottom half of the league. That'll kind of surprise you a little bit. Yeah. But when you got Andre Vasilevsky in net, I mean, the dude is a giant. I mean, his entire body pretty much covers the net. So
yeah, he's a big boy. That's for sure.
All right. The 0 for 4 the 0 for 4 Preds power play is back on the power play. Like sooner or later they got to break through, right?
I would think so. It looked like it was a slashing.
Gosh.
Somebody slashed Philip Forsberg. It looked
normally we're on the other end of this. Normally the other team has 4 or 5 power plays and we only have 1 power play. This time we have no excuses here. We have no excuses for that narrative. We're getting plenty of power play opportunities.
Here's what's even worse. 0 for 4, only 2 shots.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. TV. I mean, what are we doing?
That's bad. That is just bad. Please don't tell me they just called a penalty. Send another one of the Dallas Stars to the box.
At this point, Rich, we might need a 5-on-2 power play to score. Forget 5-on-3.
All right, boys.
They just can't get anything working right now on the power play at all.
It's so weird.
It's just it's the Stars have always been just a really good, disciplined defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been that way. They have a lot of smart veterans. They just Rick Bowness, that's kind of in his wheelhouse.
Oh man. Shot from the slot.
Yep. Yeah. Have you caught up to me, Rich? We're like on the same wavelength now.
2 minutes left right now.
Okay, now you're still behind me.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for one of our commenters to be ahead of us and you just type bang. I need it.
Yep. Definitely.
All right, we're going to go on a short – at the second intermission, we're going to go on a short break so that we can take care of business in terms of using the restroom and things of that nature. But, that's a good way to put it, right? But
that is a good way to put it.
Let's hope we go to this break with the Preds leading 2-1 here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's probably one of the better chances the Preds have had on the power play all night. Luke Cunnin was in his normal office right in front of the net, parked out. Ekholm with a slapper. Cunnin was screening the goaltender.
I mean, that
Forsberg almost nearly scored.
Ottinger is a really good goaltender.
Oh, he is.
He's really, really good.
Yeah, he's like he kind of took the same path that Connor Ingram's taking right now for the Preds. Like he was really good in the minor leagues and eventually worked his way up to the NHL level. Now he's their main starter. He's their workhorse now. Yeah, he's a really good quality goaltender.
I'm surprised there wasn't just a fight Cunnin was like trying to get the puck after he had it covered up.
Well, that was a much better showing on the power play, but it's still going to come up empty. So the Preds are now 0 for 5 on the power play.
I think they might get bumped out after this performance tonight.
You're not gonna win a lot of games like this if you're leaving 0 for 5 on the power play. I mean, it's just I mean they're playing with fire right now, but it's still 1-1. I mean, it's textbook Preds Stars game right now. It really is.
Yep.
I mean,
it's really close, which is what you always expect. That's for sure. Back to full strength.
Got a pretty busy night in the NHL tonight. Let's see. We got Devils beat the Penguins 6-1. That's a pretty surprising final score. Let's go ahead and throw a thank you to the Maple Leafs for beating the Minnesota Wild 3-1.
Yep. Definitely. Thank you, Toronto.
Another surprise.
Thank you, Toronto.
Yeah, right. Another surprising final score. The Blue Jackets beat the Panthers 6-3.
Ooh.
And the New York Rangers beat the Capitals 4-1.
Oh, wow.
So there's your score so far. We still got the Flames and the Canucks later tonight, and the Bruins play the Seattle Kraken, and the Islanders play the Sharks. I know Rich he's going to DVR the Islanders versus the Sharks. I know he can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a must-watch TV.
All right, Rich, we're about to go to a break here. Before we do, give me a couple things that you think the Preds, just what you're seeing and what the Preds need to do in this third period to get over the hump as we're tied 1-1.
Not go 0 for whatever it is on the power play. Is 0 for 5 now?
Okay, Captain Obvious.
I know, right? Yeah. This is going to be a tough third period. It's going to be tough. They're going to fight. There's probably going to be some fights. They just got to up the intensity a little bit. They always the second periods are usually a little bit of a lull for them sometimes. Can't have that in the third. You need to come out strong to finish this out for sure. So
that is a very good point, Rich. The Preds seem to always do a little bit better in the third period. They seem to always come out just on a different level. So let's hope we see that. This is episode 108 of Catfish on Ice. We're going to go on a quick 60-second break just to do the business. We'll be right back. We'll talk more. We got to do our battle for the Central Power Rankings. So we'll get into that. We're going to rank 8-1 our Central Division Power Rankings like we do every Thursday. So stay tuned for that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here.
Yep.
All right, we're back on episode 108 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howes. We're doing our live watch-along episode of Preds versus the Stars. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good. Glad for that little break. That's for sure.
We all needed it, right? A long game.
Definitely. It is a long game. For sure.
All right, so we have to get into our battle for the Central Power Rankings here as we watch the Preds and the Stars. If I like the Preds and the Stars, I don't know where you're going to have them ranked as opposed to each other. But we gotta wait and see where we got our rankings here.
It's pretty close. Pretty close.
But if I'm not mistaken, right, you still have the Arizona Coyotes at number 8.
Yes.
You're not going to throw us for a curveball this week?
No.
They beat from Rich.
They beat Dallas on the 20th.
I know, right?
Thank you, Coyotes.
Yeah, we always appreciate that. The Coyotes, the Coyotes are no longer the worst team in the league. I mean, they're ahead of the Montreal Canadiens.
There you go.
So there's that. Oh no, they're not. Wait,
they're not. Oh, did they?
Canadiens inched ahead of them. Yeah, they're back to last place. Okay.
Here's an interesting question. While we're getting into the power rankings. So Logan, I'm half French Canadian. My dad was from Quebec. Have you ever had poutine? I have had a probably poor man's version of it from a fast food restaurant. But anytime you put
poor man's version,
not the Canadian version. Anytime you put French fries and cheese with gravy on it, that sounds pretty daggone good. So
unfortunately, Logan, I've never had the privilege to have poutine, and I'm very sad about it. I've got to do it. I've actually never been to Canada.
I'd like to go.
That's actually one of my next travel destinations. I really love to travel. I love to I do a lot of solo traveling actually. Like, not that I don't like to go on vacation with friends and stuff, but I'm a big solo traveler. There is something very like invigorating about doing a trip alone sometimes. I know not everyone can do that because they got families, and it's like that'd be kind of weird to just leave your family and stuff. But like traveling solo to a place you've never been can be very just like it just like gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit. Yeah. So I would really love to go to Canada very soon. Like I've always wanted to go there. Yeah, I mean, and poutine is something I really want to try. Actually, yeah.
So Logan says, was it at an A&W restaurant? As a matter of fact, it was at an A&W restaurant.
Yep. Logan's like all on top of it, Rich.
Yeah. It was good. So I can only imagine if you get it from somewhere in Canada, it's probably really good. So yeah. Oh, Missy. Right. Although Missy's from Canada, she apparently doesn't like the poutine. So they screwed up my fries and gravy. Yuck to poutine.
Oh, how dare them. I'm the world's worst when it comes to when you go in the drive-thru. I don't check my bag until I get home, and then it's the completely wrong order.
Yep. That is the worst.
And then I'm like, well, you know what? I'm stuck with it. So I guess whatever they gave me, I'm just going to stick with this. But
Yep.
So don't do what I do. Check the bag before you pull out of the parking lot.
Check the bag. That's for sure.
If there's one thing you get out of this hockey podcast, besides loving Peccaryne, it's check the bag before you pull out of the drive-thru. That's
always
number 2.
Check the bag.
Number one is you love Peccaryne, though.
Absolutely.
All right.
Except it's hard to check the bag when you get Taco Bell because their stuff all looks alike. So.
That is true.
That is absolutely true. But it's all kind of the same stuff. So even if they screw up your order, it's really not going to matter because it's all kind of the same. So anyway.
Taco Bell, they're the masters of like redoing all their menu items and making it seem like something exciting.
Yeah, they're like
come have this beefy nacho queso burger, and it's like that's just the same thing as the burrito that you sold me last. I don't know.
I think they have like a dartboard with all the ingredients, and they just kind of like quesalupa burrito taco.
Quesalupa. The quesalupa is probably coming out next week. The quesalupa is coming out next week for sure.
Anyway,
all right.
Number
how did we
7.
turn it? We went from the Coyotes to talking about Taco Bell. I don't know how it happened. Okay.
I don't know.
I also have the Arizona Coyotes at number 8, not to
Yes.
surprise anybody at all, but they
Yep.
are number 8. At one point, I did put them at number 7. I think that was like,
Yep.
I don't know how long ago that was.
A couple weeks.
I felt bad for them, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put them at number 7 for 1 week. I think that was the week that they beat somebody really good. I don't know if it was like they beat the Avalanche.
Yeah, they had like a little win streak going.
The week that they beat the Avalanche, I was like, you know what? I'm going to move them up to number 7.
Yeah,
but it was short lived. They're back to number 8. And this poor team is going to be playing in front of like 3,000 people at a high school stadium, basically. Okay, it's going to be at Arizona State, but it looks like a high school stadium. And I don't know how it's going to work. It's a mess for the league. I mean, maybe it'll be cool. We'll see. But I
don't know.
But yeah, they're number 8.
Yep. Anyway.
And the Blackhawks are number 7. Number 8, number 7 has just been pretty much notoriously there. So it's really kind of ruining the suspense of our battle for the Central Power rankings when the Coyotes and the Blackhawks are always number 8, number 7.
Yep. I wrote the struggle continues. #free Fleury. Free
I
Andre
like
Fleury.
that. I
Free
do like
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Free Marc-Andre Fleury. The Stars, or the Blackhawks, I should say, have lost 3 games in a row. They lost 5-2 to Florida on Sunday. They lost 1-0 to the Stars. They lost 7-4 to Columbus. They did beat Winnipeg. That was their last win. Over a week ago, they beat the Winnipeg Jets. But yeah, they
have to be. Like they got to do something. They're gonna have to get rid of some.
The Blackhawks are a team that was expected to take a step forward this season. Because if everyone remembers last season, they were in the playoff hunt until right towards the end last season in the 56 game season. They were in the playoff hunt, and they even gave the Preds some battles down the stretch to make the playoffs last season. If you remember,
they did. Oh, I do.
So a lot of people thought, you know what? The Blackhawks, they have a lot of good young players. Alex DeBrincat for one, Kirby Doc. They're getting Marc-Andre Fleury. They still got Jonathan Toews. They still got, Patrick Kane.
Seth Jones. They got him.
Yeah. They went and dramatically overpaid Seth Jones. But it was like, at the very least, you thought that the Blackhawks would like hang around in the wild. They've just completely been a mess and gone backwards. So, I don't know. I got nothing for you. And I can't say that I'm losing sleep over it.
No, I'm not either. But you got to think that they're going to have to make some bold moves.
No, I don't even know. I don't know what they're going to do. They're like I said, they're a mess. They're a mess. They're definitely number 7.
Yep.
All right. So right now, we're going to put the Winnipeg Jets at number 6, right? I mean, it's close though. But close. The Winnipeg Jets are definitely at number 6. They're another team that I think their bubble is about to burst in the next week or two. I would expect them to be soft sellers at the trade deadline. They're about to fall out of it. Like their margin for error is basically 0 when it comes to if they want to make the playoffs or not.
Yep.
They lost a pretty important game last night to the Stars. Like it went to overtime, so they got a point out of it. But that was an important game for them. So they're 9 points behind the Predators right now. They've played the same amount of games as the Preds, so they're not completely out of it yet. But I mean, it's very slim chances that they even make the playoffs.
They have no wins this week, and tomorrow night they're facing the mighty Avalanche.
Yeah.
So good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Here's the big question of our rankings this week. Preds and Stars, how are we ranking them?
I put Dallas at 5th. Still. They lost to Arizona. They're starting to make some headway, but it could go either way. You just don't know. Like you don't know. They're really hard to read. So for now, they're going to be in 5th for me.
Well, you know what? I don't want to ruffle everyone's feathers, but I have the Preds at number 5.
Yeah.
And
That's
we're
pretty
doing
interchangeable, actually.
we're doing these rankings right now, judging not on how this game's going to end, obviously, because we don't know how it's going to end yet. We're in the second intermission. It's a 1-1 game. But even though the Preds did beat the Florida Panthers and they had to really play one of their best games of the season and get a little bit of good luck at the end and stuff like that, I think some of their true colors have been shown against some of these better teams lately.
Yep.
And we'll see what their true colors are in the Stadium Series game against Tampa. Luckily, this month is almost over when it comes to some of these tough teams they played against, like Carolina, for instance. I mean, they played the Capitals. Like, they've had a really, really tough month. This game we're watching right now against the Stars is really going to change my outlook on them a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to say right now, going into this game, I put the Stars ahead of the Preds because I do think the Stars are trending more in the right direction, whereas the Preds are, even though they did beat the Panthers, I get that. That was a huge win. Yeah. It doesn't undo all the bad trends they were showing.
Yeah.
And they're still showing some of those bad trends tonight, even though they are tied 1-1. That power play is they better get that fixed quick. Like, I'm just saying.
Ugly.
And they're right in the thick of this wild card race, and another 4-game losing streak could knock this Preds team right out of the playoffs.
No, easily. Yeah. So before they started this hard section of their schedule, they had 2 games that they really needed to win before moving on to playing the Capitals and whatnot. And it was against Dallas, which they lost, and then it was against Winnipeg, which they should have won that game as well, and they didn't. And then they entered into playing these hard games, and the Florida win was huge, but it could go either way. You just don't know.
Yeah, so. I mean, a big win over Florida is not going to undo what happened before that for me. So no, I got the Preds at number 5. I got the Stars at number 4. Like you said, they are very interchangeable. They're 2 very evenly matched teams. I wrote on Predlines.com earlier in the week 4 teams that I feel like are direct competitors for the Preds to make the playoffs. And I definitely had the Stars as one of my top teams that are going to really be a team that the Preds are going to directly be competing with in the last couple of weeks of the season for a wild card spot. I'm sorry. I just don't think the Preds are going to have what it takes to finish in the top 3.
It's going to be tough. That would be a tough stretch. I agree 100% with that.
So the 4 teams I listed the Anaheim Ducks, I listed the LA Kings, the Dallas Stars, and I threw the Winnipeg Jets in there just because they are still hanging around as the 4 teams that I think are going to be direct competitive teams to get a wild card spot. So if you do the math, 2 of those 4 teams that I just listed, or 2 of the 5 teams will make the wild card spots, the 2 wild card spots, including the Predators.
Yep.
And so I said the Stars and the Kings are the 2 teams I am most worried about personally as making the wild card and maybe forcing the Preds to be one of the odd teams out when it's all said and done. Those are my top 2 teams I'm worried about, the Stars and the Kings.
Yep. I agree. I'm really worried about Dallas kind of the most because, like this game tonight, they're playing really well. They're hanging with them, so it could go either way. You just don't know. So,
and the Predators have not missed the playoffs since 2013-14 season, which was Barry Trotz's last season.
Yeah.
So they're going for their. So it's become expected in Nashville to make the playoffs every year. It really has. And even though going into this season, a lot of fans didn't think the Preds would make the playoffs, and it's been kind of a surprise season, it's still it's going to be a really weird pill to swallow to not be in the playoffs for Preds fans. It's going to be, I can tell you personally, it's going to be very odd to watch the playoffs this year and the Preds aren't even in it. So let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Yep.
But I'm telling you right now, the Dallas Stars are one of those teams that the Preds have to figure out a way to beat head-to-head and hope that the Stars fall back a little bit and they become sellers at the deadline and they pack it in. But this is a game right here that I'm telling you, the Stars, if they win a game like this, they're like, okay, that's a big one. This is a big one for both teams right now.
It is. Absolutely it is. even when we tempered our expectations before the season started, this is where they're at right now is about where we thought they would be clawing to get a wild card spot.
So
and they're kind of trending that way,
Yeah.
like it could happen.
So Rich, let me ask you right now. Let me get a prediction from you right now on February 24th, 2022, and then I'll give you what I wrote earlier this week on the two teams I thought would be in the wild card. I did predict the Predators to be one of the two wild card teams when it's all said and done. Who is your prediction? Who makes the two wild card spots? I love putting your feet to the fire. It's so fun. Yeah, you do. Make a prediction. Really, none of us know, but it's fun to make predictions.
I'm going to say the Predators are definitely going to get one, but it'll be very close. And then I would say either Anaheim or Los Angeles. That'd be tough.
I went the Kings.
Yeah.
I went Kings and Preds. The Kings are one of those teams that are really one of those teams where they're ready to take that next step. We all thought they'd be a decent team this year, but we just didn't know if they were ready to take that next step. I like the Kings. I think they have a lot of good pieces in place. They got some good young players. Yep. They've got some good veterans. They've got Jonathan Quick, who's actually having a really good year this year as a veteran. So, that's my prediction. I think Preds and Kings in the wild card.
Yeah, they're in third spot in their division, but they're only 2 points up on Edmonton and Anaheim. So,
I mean, the Kings are actually still in the hunt to win the Pacific Division. The Pacific Division is very close.
It is very close. Yeah, they're within 5.
All right, so we are underway right now in the third period. It's still 1-1. The shot totals between the two teams, and we are in the third period, is 31 shots.
It's insane.
Combined between the two teams.
It's insane.
I'm pretty sure the Florida Panthers had at least 31 shots going into the period by themselves on Tuesday, if I remember correctly. Just goes to show you how much different this game is from the Panthers game.
Yeah.
Logan Hall predicts the Preds as the first wild card and the Kings as the second wild card. I'll take that. I'll totally take that.
And then he said you stole his thunder.
No, it just means we're thinking alike.
Yep. And then our friend JC, Ducks and Oilers.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So he's predicting. They're predicting two Pacific teams in the wild card, which means that maybe the Kings are in their top 3 in the Pacific. I guess
so.
All right, because that would leave the Flames in there, and that would leave the Vegas Golden Knights in there. Wow.
Yep.
All right, that's a good prediction. Okay, we'll see how it goes. As we all know, the wild card hunt always goes down to the last week. So
it does. Yep.
That's why we love hockey.
Yep. It's exciting and hurtful.
Oh my gosh. It might be hurtful tonight if the Preds can't close this one out, because I mean, there's just no offense in this game. It's just this really is the type of game where it's the perfect scenario where both teams know each other well, and it really favors the defensive aspect of the game.
Right. I thought you were getting ready to say they scored.
No, I'm sorry. Scored. I know. But this is really the type of game where both teams just it's like they're telegraphing each other. They just know what each team is trying to do, you know?
Yep.
I will say
that. Go ahead.
Oh, so so JC says, I don't care who ends up in the playoffs as long as Tampa Bay doesn't three-peat. All right, we're on the same page there. I don't want to see a three-peat either. Even though a three-peat is so rare in hockey.
Oh, yeah. That's like a dynasty.
I mean, it would be kind of cool to see that, but I don't want to see it either necessarily.
Yeah. That'd be 4 in a row for Pat Maroon.
Well, I mean, I always get accused of being like a closet Tampa fan behind the doors of a Preds fan, but it's totally not true. Just because I'm moving down there and that's going to be my home starting this summer doesn't mean that I'm going to be cheering for them. So nobody has to worry about that.
You're not really going to be living in Tampa, though. So.
No, I'm going to be living in St. Pete, which is very different from Tampa. Two completely different worlds across the bridge from each other. But I do expect to see a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to be among a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning fan, most likely. So,
yep, absolutely.
But I do want to go see a game at that arena because apparently that's a really good environment for a game.
It's supposed to be really cool. That's for sure. I think they have a rule in place where you can't wear any opposing team's jerseys, though, if you sit like near
Are
the
you
glass.
Serious?
I could have swore that was something last season that I heard.
That can't be true.
I'm pretty sure it was. It was last season. I don't know if they changed it or not.
That's way worse than the rule the Preds had where they were looking at the zip codes and they were leaving Chicago fans out. Do you remember the story about that?
That's actually still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
you can, but banning fans from being able to wear an opposing jersey in a certain section. That's ridiculous. I'm going to test that.
That was definitely a thing.
First Tampa Bay game I'm going to down there. I'm going to wear my Preds jersey loud and proud. And I'm going to see what they say.
Well, you're going to have to buy you an expensive ticket on the glass.
You're saying, on the glass.
Yeah, no, only on the glass. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
It's if you sit within so many rows of the glass, you couldn't, but they might have changed it. I don't know.
No, I don't think they have to worry about that then. I don't know if I'm in that price range.
No, definitely not. I sat in near the glass one time at a Capitals game with my brother, but those tickets were gifts. So
yeah, I'm going to have to get a gift. I'm going to have to get a gift from somebody if I'm going to sit that close. So the only time I've ever sat on the glass was also a gift. It was the company that my mom was working for, or one of her clients, a really rich company, and they had glass seats.
Yep.
And they let me and my buddy go down there and sit down there for a period, right on the corner of the glass. And if you've never sat on the glass at a hockey game, you get a full appreciation of how fast these players are skating, how hard they're hitting each other. I mean, it's literally like a car wreck. It's a constant car wreck. These guys are hitting each other so hard.
But I'm going to be honest. I'd rather sit up a little higher because you can't see the whole game. So
yeah, I mean,
it was fun to experience it, but I probably wouldn't go buy. I probably wouldn't spend the money to get glass seats again. So.
If you're really wanting to see the whole game and you're wanting to really see how the game's flowing, then sitting on the glass doesn't really do you a lot of good.
Yeah, that's true.
This game is just really chugging along here.
It is.
We got what do we got? Kuzi? Is that how we pronounce it? Kuzi?
I don't know. That's close.
Do you think Tampa Bay was the best opponent for the Preds in the stadium game? Would have liked a better rival? That's a really good point. I do think that the NHL
they set that up.
They set that up, and I don't think Tampa Bay's been in a lot of outdoor games. So I think it has something to do with wanting to showcase Tampa Bay. I said, so when they were speculating who the opponent would be for the game back before they announced the Tampa Bay Lightning, I was saying I wanted a rematch with the Dallas Stars. I thought that would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be awesome.
But, I'm sure the NHL was thinking about it from a standpoint of, I don't think Tampa Bay's had a lot of outdoor games. And of course, Tampa Bay's got geographically speaking, it's not a long trip. But that is true. What the commenter's saying, it's true that it's not a rivalry. So I do get that aspect of it. It kind of surprises you.
Mike Twitter. This is Tampa Bay's first outdoor game.
There you go. So I wasn't sure if they ever played. I knew they didn't play a Winter Classic, but I wasn't sure if they played another Stadium Series game. So there you go. Yeah. So I think that the NHL's thought process was, we want to get more teams that haven't played outdoors, get them outdoors. You got a team like Tampa who has a ton of superstars, a great fan base. It's geographically speaking, it's a close trip. So that's probably what they were thinking. But I do understand the point of, it would have been nice to see maybe the Preds play a more of a rival, like the Star, like a rematch of the Winter Classic would have been cool. St. Louis would have been a really good matchup.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think they just like to spread those things around. That's why you wouldn't see the Preds play Dallas again. They want to give other teams opportunities, and I knew that Minnesota and St. Louis were going to be in the Winter Classic, so it wasn't going to be them.
And I think St. Louis has been in a lot of Winter Classics, or a few at least outdoor games. So I think they're just trying to pick more teams that haven't been in. And it's kind of surprising, honestly, that Tampa Bay hasn't been in one.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, it's crazy. They win Stanley Cups. They don't need to be on TV anymore.
Speaking of which, how crazy, Rich, did you see? And I'm not trying to really be like mean about this, but why did the Florida Panthers arena look like I was watching a home game for the Arizona Coyotes when you're talking about one of the best teams in the league?
So sad.
Dude,
I don't understand that at all.
There were rows and rows of lower deck seats close to the glass. I'm talking like the top 10 rows of the glass. Empty.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I was wondering about that myself. I don't know. Where is there? Is it Sunrise, Florida?
Sunrise, Florida. It's right outside Miami. I don't know a lot about Miami, but I did get someone on Twitter responded to one of my tweets talking about it, and they said that it's very inconveniently located, the arena.
Okay.
And you've also got to take into effect that Miami, that area, never really does that well in sports. Except for, maybe you can say like college football does well down there. Yeah. Maybe you can say the Miami Dolphins do well in football. But for the most part, that part of Florida, like there's so much going on. It's like it's a completely different type of living, honestly.
Lots of other things to take your entertainment dollar.
Yeah, so I do understand that aspect of it. I'm not trying to say that the Florida Panthers fan base is just awful and there's no diehard fans. I'm just trying to say that I could not believe how empty that arena was.
Yep.
Especially the lower deck. I can understand the upper bowl being empty, but I mean, there were like empty seats like in the 5th row, 6th row, just empty. You're talking about a team that has so many superstars. Alexander Barkov is one of the Alexander Barkov is so underrated. Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah.
Aaron Ekblad. Come on now. Anthony Duclair. This team is loaded with stars. They're such a fun team to watch. They're the highest scoring team in the league. They have speed for days. They're like the Need for Speed team. How are they not drawing more fans? I don't know. It's a bad look. It's another bad look for the league. It's another bad look for the league. I'm sorry.
I guess if it's inconveniently located, that's not good. That's one good thing about Bridgestone. Very conveniently located.
It's
lots of things to do. Yeah, it's totally the opposite.
It'd be one thing if the Florida Panthers were like an awful team or they were mediocre and they were putting a bad product on the ice type of deal. Like, why would you waste your time? But this is one of the more entertaining, fun, best teams in the league. How is there empty seats in the lower bowl? That's just I couldn't believe it. I just was like, wow, this is crazy.
It is crazy. But, maybe it'll I don't know. It's just weird. Very strange.
Because the Florida Panthers could easily win the Stanley Cup this year, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit. They're that good.
Wouldn't surprise me either.
They're that good. I've already been on record. I've already been record on saying if the Preds don't make the Stanley Cup, which they're probably not, then give me a Colorado Avalanche Florida Panthers Stanley Cup final, and I will sign me up for that.
That'd be a tough one.
That would be fun to watch.
Oh, they're showing JP Dumont on the screen there.
Another classic old school Preds player that was a big part of this team as they were getting better and better. All right, so let's update this electric shot total here. It's now 18-17 in favor of the Stars. This is like really like a defensive struggle of all defensive struggles here.
Yeah, it's shooting the lights out.
I got something to say here. Somewhere David Riddick is sitting on the bench saying, I couldn't have gotten this game.
Yeah, right. Instead of throwing me out the Panthers.
44 saves or whatever it was.
That's funny.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no. Stars are starting to scramble in front of Saros here. That scares me. Okay, we're good. For right now, Rich, we're good. Oh!
Well, I'm just now seeing the face off.
Rich, I'm not trying to scare you, sir, but yeah, that was a little bit of a scary sequence there. I didn't like that at all.
I think I'm catching up to it right here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We have so that exact sequence is what draws a penalty for the Stars, and Ryan Johansson's in the penalty box.
Oh. Fabulous.
Yeah, that was a scramble there. That was a scramble. Ryan Johansson doesn't like the call, but
what did he do? What did he do?
Let's see here.
Let's see.
Another weak call, man. I mean, I'm sorry, man. That's just but it's like a ticky-tack type of thing. It's like a subjective type of thing. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna call it now. Like, we're not gonna call it the entire game, but we're gonna call it right now.
But I don't understand.
Yeah, well, Ryan Johansson didn't understand it either, Rich. But all right, so here's another big penalty kill for the Preds. The Stars are 0 for 2 on the power play. We won't even discuss how bad the Preds are on the power play tonight, but it's pretty bad.
That is weak. They just showed the replay.
Yeah,
he dropped his stick.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I don't know.
That was weak.
And these are the types of calls that can really sway a game one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And crossbar, Saros sprawled out. Oh my gosh,
the bar saved him.
Wow.
The bar saved him.
All right, Alexander Radulov, you can just go ahead and march your ass right out of there. You have nothing to say. He's trying to – I don't know what he's even trying to get mixed up in, but he can just walk away. Yep, that – oh, wow, we're lucky. We are totally lucky on that one.
Wow.
That ricocheted off somebody here. Let's see, through traffic.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's lucky. We're fortunate.
Who is in the –
Well, you see Matt Benning down there battling with Jason Robertson.
Oh, Pavelski was like in the net.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah, we're lucky. We're lucky. It's 1-1. We're totally lucky here.
Yeah.
Oh man, we still got over a minute left of this Stars power play to kill off. They are camping out right now in the zone. They are camping. They're pitching a tent. They're like, we're gonna score. No. All right, we're good. Right. We're good.
So JC, his name's Justin as well. He says, do y'all think Jake Ottinger will be the franchise goalie for Dallas, hoping he reaches Andrei Vasilevsky's level at some point?
Wow.
I'd say he's definitely making
I do think he's got the similar young talent level of UC Saros. I'll put him up there in that class. I think he's got a really good skill set. I mean, he's a large goaltender. Ever since he first came in as a backup, he's been really strong for the Stars. I mean, he's been kind of a savior for them.
Yeah,
because if you think about it, the whole mess up with Ben Bishop, and they end up trading him. Or no, Ben Bishop had to retire, didn't he? Yeah,
he was injured. Yeah,
yeah, and then you got Anton Hudobin, who played. Hudobin did really well for them for a while, but now he's gone. And Braden Holtby, which I never understood the Braden Holtby.
I didn't get that at all.
I really didn't. And so now you've got Ottinger, who is pretty much taking the mantle.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, Braden Holtby.
Good question, though, there. Good question.
Yeah. Obviously, Braden Holtby has a Stanley Cup with the Capitals, then goes to play for Vancouver and has a not good season. So that was why it was puzzling that Dallas would, he's going to be our goaltender now. Like, it just didn't make any sense at all. But
Braden Holtby's just past his prime. I mean, he's a great goaltender. He was a great goaltender in his day. He's one of the better goaltenders of the last decade. I'll give him that. But he's not. It was a weird move. So Jake Ottinger, it's his mantle. It's his. Yeah. He's kind of. I put him right in the same class as UC Saros and Igor Shesterkin as far as up and coming young goaltenders. Put him right there with them.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good goaltender. The Stars really they got that checked off as they got their goaltender.
JC said I don't really like Holtby. He's kind of like vanilla ice cream a little bit.
So are we going to save that topic for the offseason, Rich, when there's not a lot of topics? Compare NHL goaltenders to ice cream flavors.
Ice cream, exactly.
All right.
Here's
So,
a good.
hey, everyone who's watching tonight, while we've got all these topics to cover, stick with us in the dog days of summer because one of our topics will be goaltenders and their ice cream flavors.
Yep.
We already gave you a sneak peek on one of them.
Maybe Kyle Perkins can do that.
We already gave you a sneak peek on one of them. Jake Ottinger or Braden Holtby is apparently vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla.
So,
he's kind of, it's good and all, but
I'm sure the suspense is killing everybody. What are that topic's going to be like in June or whatever month we do that? July, when there's no NHL news.
It'll be exciting.
We'll save that for July. That's when nothing's ever happening is July.
That's true.
So we'll save it for July.
Logan asked who are our favorite hockey players of all time.
Well, you should have thrown in besides Peccaryne because that's obvious.
Yeah, that's who I'm going to say is Peccaryne.
All right, let's throw in some other ones though. All right, so you say Zdeno Chara?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of different players. I like Patrice Bergeron. A lot of people don't like him, but I like Brad Marchand. I like Chara. I like I like Jason Robertson. It's just a bunch of different players.
So my first favorite NHL hockey player before the Preds even moved here was Steve Yzerman. So I was like a sports fan. Like my first favorite sport was NBA. I played basketball.
I used to watch
very
NBA
young age.
a lot.
So I was a really big NBA fan. I had like probably 20 NBA jerseys. But when I first started really getting introduced to hockey, it was right before the Preds moved here in 1998. And Stevie Yzerman was my favorite NHL player. My first favorite NHL player was Steve Yzerman. So I always throw him up there. PK Subban. I've always really loved PK Subban. Even before he came to the Preds, I loved PK Subban just because of all the great things he does off the ice and his personality. He's larger than life. He's just eccentric. He's just out there. So I've always liked him. So those are probably of course the great one. Of course the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
I like Alex Ovechkin. I like watching those guys play.
They used to always do the head-to-head debate of who do you like more, Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin? Because for the longest time, they were like the two leading players of the league. Yeah. And I didn't even have to think twice of it. I'm like, give me Alex Ovechkin over Sidney Crosby any day.
Absolutely. Mike Twitter says
Ovechkin's up there.
Yeah, Mike Twitter says Arvidsson and then Pavel Bure. JC says Marc-Andre Fleury. That's definitely a good pick.
Definitely a good pick.
Missy says, I guess all-time likely, the first favorite, which for me, Doug Gilmour, if we went with that. Otherwise, Fisher Weber was my first. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Justin Gambino says, mine is Rinne. He likes RV as well. I think that's a lot of us like RV. So, yeah, I just like a bunch of different players.
Good picks.
Yep.
Really good picks for sure.
Yep. But Rinne is my top.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have a hard time asking a Preds fan who their favorite hockey player of all time is and them not saying Peccaryne.
JC says Rupe Hintz. That's a good choice.
Rupe Hintz is a fun player to watch. Yeah, If we're talking about players in other teams that are just fun to watch, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's for sure. Man, this period is flying by.
The whole game has flown by. Honestly, it's been like a really fast moving game. Oh gosh, let's see what we got.
Why is that not okay? I just saw what looked like a trip, and they didn't call it.
I will say, I instantly became a Nikita Kucherov fan when he did his shirtless press conference while pounding a Bud Light and saying that he brought up, who was it, the Montreal Canadiens that year in the bubble. Or he brought up the Montreal Canadiens. He said, "Oh, why are we talking about the Canadiens? That was their Stanley Cup." Like just his savagery. Like sometimes I respect savagery as long as it's within the context of the game. Yeah. Like as long as you're not getting like personal and it's more like, I think hockey needs more of that. Honestly, I think that hockey needs more villains. I think it needs more. As long as you're not making it personal.
I think that was the result of pounding a lot of beers really fast. I think that kind of loosened
the best part though that he was shirtless though, and like I know these are world class athletes, but it's not like he was particularly like. It's not like he was like ripped with like a six pack like he's in Hollywood or anything. He was just like, I don't know, man. I'm weird like that
with his shirt off.
I know it rubs people the wrong way and everything, but for some reason I kind of became a Nikita Kucherov fan that night when I saw that. I just thought it was funny. I don't know.
It definitely rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Well, I guess I'm just different like that. I don't know. So I've always instantly I'm like, okay, I kind of like Nikita Kucherov. Like now if he got personal with it and like it got to the point where it was like very disrespectful to the game, then that'd be different. But I feel like it was all within context of like friendly trash talking. And honestly, I think the league needs more of that. I think there's just too many players in this league that are just like come off robotic. They don't come off like very like you can't relate to them. And if you watch a lot of the other sports, like the NBA, you watch the NFL, you watch like sports like that, like you really know these players' personalities. You can see them more. Like you look at the greatest player in the world, arguably, Connor McDavid. I mean, he's no personality at all.
Yeah.
So it's just, it becomes kind of, if you want to really grow the sport, you need some of these players that might stoke the flames a little bit. They might be a little bit like, I don't know. That's just
it's kind of, I think it's hockey players are just wired different.
They are. And I respect it. I like that they don't get mixed into it too much and it's more about the game.
Yeah.
I do like that too.
Like that. I think that's what shocked everybody so much is when he said that, it was like, you don't really hear hockey players do that very often. So I think that's why it caused such a stink.
Well, like Shea Weber was always like that, though, as far as the other way. He was very quiet, very stoic. Roman Yossi's like that. Roman Josi is very quiet, very stoic leader. He's just very calm, cool, and collected. Doesn't show a ton of personality. But in a captain, I think that's great. In a captain, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you just get some of the personalities show out, and it's a little shocking at times, but I'll stand in the minority here, but I like Nikita Kucherov. Yeah.
You don't like the Tampa Bay Lightning at all. You don't like anybody.
I respect them, but
that's your most hated team.
Yeah.
I know you say hate's a strong word, but you really don't like them.
It's a strong word. Ooh, this is a good one. Who's the greatest hockey villain of all time? Wow.
Are we talking currently? Because if you're a prisoner of the moment, it's Evander Kane. But all time,
people are going to say Brad Marchand a lot.
Brad Marchand, Tom Wilson.
I
will say I'm not the greatest hockey historian.
Corey Perry.
I'm sure there's a lot of old school players from like the 80s and 70s that some of our hockey historians could throw in there. But it just going off like the last like 20 years, Corey Perry's definitely in there.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reeves. You got to throw Ryan Reeves in there.
Yeah. I haven't seen much from him lately though.
But he's definitely always been the type though that just like starts crap. I think Tom Wilson is probably if we're talking current times, I'm saying Tom Wilson's the biggest villain. I mean, the poor guy. Bertuzzo's a good one.
Bertuzzo's a good one. Sean Avery.
Yeah, that's
he's in the
news.
He's in the news trying to make a comeback in the NHL.
But you got Tom Wilson, who I mean, the guy got booed at the All-Star game.
Exactly. Pat Maroon. Yeah, I agree with that right there. Don't care for him at all.
Those are some good ones. That's a good question, man. That was a really good question to throw in there. Yeah, biggest hockey villains of all time. Yeah. We can currently right now we can throw Jordan Bennington in there.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's really good. He's at one of the top of my list, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jordan Bennington, I'm going to throw him in there right now if we're talking current times. I mean, the guy's the biggest whiny baby I've ever seen. Like, I mean, he just throws tantrums.
He's been struggling as well lately.
You could even throw Patrick Kane in there as a villain. I know he's a superstar, but he's got a pretty troubled past. And I'm sorry, but I would throw Patrick Kane in there.
Good old Patty Kane. They probably need to trade him and get whatever they can at this point.
If you're asking Preds fans about biggest villains, it's definitely Alexander Radulov and Ryan Suter.
Yeah, and Corey Perry.
Oh no! Oh, Stars! Hey, Stars are hunting for that go-ahead goal. They are out skating the Preds right now. You're about to see, Rich. Saros just had to make a big save, and he left a rebound out there, but luckily they didn't find it.
I hope this doesn't go to a shootout. I do not like the shootout.
All right, so the Preds ice the puck here. I'm telling you, the Preds have been on their heels a lot in this game. I know the shot totals are kind of close, but wow, Saros. If that rebound goes the wrong direction, it's an open net for a Stars goal.
Wow. It looked like
that rebound was way out there for an open net, but the Stars couldn't scoop it up. They couldn't wrangle it up, but oh my gosh, this is like I feel like the Preds are really scrambling to just get this to overtime right now. We're coming up on 2 minutes left in regulation. Still 1-1.
Oh man, they just missed a golden opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Preds only have 18 shots on goal. I mean, it's like they're fortunate to be tied 1-1 and have a chance to get 2 points in this game. When you've only got 18 shots on goal. I mean,
if Lindell would have passed it, they would have had an open net.
Oh, it was a prime scoring chance.
Wide open.
But the Stars are really putting the pressure. I mean, I'm telling you, this is like the Preds are scrambling, man. Like they are just like, oh my gosh. Rich, you're about to lose your breath on what just happened, but it is 1-1 still. I'll tell you that. But wait till you see. Wait till you see what just happened.
I'm still catching up.
Everyone having fun watching this watch along with us. We appreciate you joining us. We're getting down towards the end here. We are coming up on the 2.5 hour mark of the watch along. This is a marathon. We are here for you. We love doing these watch alongs. We love y'all joining us. Y'all help us build this episode. When we do these watch alongs, the listeners really help us fuel the episode. So we appreciate all of you for doing that. We got 60 seconds left in this game, Rich. Rich, you're like struggling over there, man. You need like a paper bag over there, man.
Choking.
All right.
I just don't want this to go to a shootout. Like I hate the shootout so much.
Oh, Rich, the Preds pulled the goaltender. They're going empty net.
They are not.
All right, I'm messing with you. That was fun.
That was good.
I got to take advantage of being ahead 30 seconds on you. I can kind of like have fun with it. It's a really fun position of power. I got to tell you,
it is. I mean, that's right.
I feel like I got a time machine and I can like predict the future on you.
Missy says she's nervous as hell right now. Yeah,
we're right there with you, Missy.
NHL should eliminate the shootout, play 3-on-3, and turn off the clock. Absolutely. 100% agree.
I've always said extend it to 10 minutes at least. I think 5 minutes is way too short.
Or just, I mean, they don't do the shootout in the playoffs.
So the Stars took the conservative strategy. They had about 15 seconds left to maybe make one last push. And they just said, they did the whole like football kneeling down thing. And said, we'll take the point, the guaranteed point.
We'll take at least the point. Yep. Justin, I agree.
So we're heading to overtime. We're heading to overtime here.
About the shootout, I don't think it's indicative of who should win the game. Because,
don't you think? But Rich, don't you think it's fair to at least say we can extend it to 10 minutes? I don't think you can make it like. I don't think you can make it like, an amount of time where it's just like you don't know how long. Because then, I mean, we're talking like these players play 82 game seasons. Like you can't expect them to just like these games could go on forever sometimes. Like a game like this where there's like very little offense.
Hey,
you can't have like I feel like 10 minutes would be fair.
I think they should do 3-on-3, but have it like in 5-minute periods or something. I don't know, just something. Just
I think
get rid of the shootout.
If you went 10 minutes, if you just extended it to 10 minutes, the overwhelming majority of games would be decided in 10 minutes. Because when you're talking 3-on-3, there's so much open ice, and there's the defense gets a little bit more sloppy because these guys are tired.
Absolutely.
You extend it to 10 minutes, you're very rarely going to have a shootout. So, but the 5 minutes is just such a short amount of time. I mean, it's just.
Yep.
I don't see it happening, though. I don't see him getting rid of the shootout anytime soon.
Yeah. Mike Twitter said, I love the shootouts, but when it's the Preds, I get nervous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the perfect example of it's fun when it's not your team involved.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I just don't think it awards the game to the best team.
Personally. No, I'm right there with. Most hockey fans feel that way. Honestly,
like, is it fair? Like when you go up against like Connor McDavid, the dude's a video game. Like he's 9 times out of 10 going to score. So,
all right, your 2 goal scorers tonight are Philip Tomasino for the Preds and Jason Robertson of the Stars. So your 2 young, rising phenoms of their teams. So, yeah, here we go. Overtime's underway. Preds are entering overtime with only 18 shots on goal. I mean, that's just – you don't see that hardly ever from any team. But they've got possession. They've got possession. They're being patient. You see this happen all the time. Teams are very patient when they get possession of the puck in overtime. You wait for your moment to break into the zone, and then you try to set it up. You play keep away for a little bit. That's what the Preds are doing. But you got to watch out for the counterattack. That's what happens in overtime is you get these counterattacks.
You got to be very careful.
Like you'll make your move, you'll make your push to score, and then the other team will get the puck and they'll make their breakaway. That's what makes it so exciting.
Yep.
The 3-on-3 format.
Come on, Yost. Wow, they're holding on. Oh.
And now the Stars are sitting on the puck, waiting for their moment.
Yeah, you got to get back really quick. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like what Mike Twitter's saying right here.
Did he say not bang?
No, he said ugh.
Well, ugh's never good.
No. Justin
they called a trip. They called a penalty. Yeah, it was a trip.
Okay, so it's not totally over.
They called a trip. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's a trip. I hate to say it, but it's a trip.
Granlund.
Yeah, he got his stick caught out there. I mean, you can't argue against it. I mean, it's a clear trip. Tripping penalties are the easiest penalty to call.
So what is it now? They do 4-on-3?
Yeah, so the Stars get an extra player. So
2 minutes for trip.
Yeah, I mean, that's a clear penalty. Granlund was beat a little bit defensively, gets his stick out there. I mean, it's the easiest penalty to call in hockey. I mean, there's really no subjectivity to tripping. It's like it's either a trip or it's not. So, I mean, it was a trip.
Logan says, hey, just want to say everybody in the chat, hope y'all stay safe and have a wonderful into Chad and Rich. Thanks again for the awesome stream. Much love to you guys, and Peccaryne is the GOAT. Yeah, thanks for joining, man.
Logan, we really appreciate you. We hope you join us for the next time we do an episode. We love having you here. We love having you part of our podcast group. We love it.
Yep.
All right, so we got to figure out a way out of this here. The Preds have killed a lot of big penalties tonight, but it's a lot harder when it's 4-on-3, I'll tell you. So especially when you got tired legs out there. This has been a grueling game. This has been a very grueling game defensively. These guys got to be tired, and you're just waiting for someone to make a mistake. That's what you're waiting on.
So he's got Sissons, Ekholm, and Benning out right now.
Which I like that. I like that group.
Yeah.
I like that group out there. I mean, this is a lineup you don't have to use very often. I mean, 4-on-3 power plays don't happen very often. But the Stars are literally taking target practice right now. I mean, they're camped out in the zone, and they are just sinking in on the Preds. And really all you can do when you only have 3 players out there, there's not really much you can do. All you can really do when you've only got 3 players out there is you try to build a shell around your goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
You try to get a fortunate block maybe.
And you really can't even go for like a breakaway or anything.
No, you're just hoping
you gotta wait.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good poke checking going on right now, though. Colton Sissons is one of your better penalty killing forwards, like you can ever ask for. I mean, he is just like, they tried to clear it. They couldn't get it out. We got about 30 seconds left here on this. Oh my gosh, this is insane, man. This is like, I mean, how are they even? They're blocking a lot of shots, man. I mean, this is such an impressive penalty kill here, and there's still 10 seconds left on it, so it could end badly. But wow.
I'm at 40 seconds, man.
I mean, wow. Stick taps to that penalty kill, and you're seeing a standing ovation in Bridgestone Arena for that. Matt Benning was, oh my gosh, Matt Benning.
Absolutely.
Give him a ton of credit. Colton Sissons, Matthias Ekholm.
UC Saros.
Give them, hey, we'll see if we win this game here, but give those 3 penalty killers the stars of the game. I'm not even lying. Because Saros actually didn't have to make that many saves on that kill. It was a lot of block shots, dude. I'm telling you.
Huge.
Give them the 3 stars of the game if the Preds win this game. I'm telling you, that was some courageous penalty killing. I'm telling you, man. Those guys just standing in that shot lane. They know they're going to take the puck to the chest or to the shin, where there's not a lot of padding. Matt Benning, Colton Sissons, Matthias Ekholm. Wow. All right. We're down to 60 seconds left in overtime.
So Yossi came out. Oh, they switched. They
do it for Pecs. Do it for Pecs.
Come on. It's going to go to a shootout.
All it takes is one, Rich. All it takes is one.
Well, the Preds can't even get the puck. I'm behind like quite a bit. I don't know what's happening.
Wow. All right. You don't even know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. I'm in a minute.
I hate it for. We got to figure that out, man.
I don't know what to do.
Are you watching it on Bally or are you watching it on like a streaming?
It's my stream. It's Spectrum cable, but it's their streaming service. It's not like cable.
Well, if you're streaming it, it's not going to be.
Yeah, it won't ever catch up.
It's okay. You were ahead of me that one time, but.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't understand that.
All right, so
is it over? It's over, right?
No, it's not over. No. We got 38 seconds left, Rich.
That's what I'm on.
Yeah, there's a timeout.
Oh, gotcha.
They have this thing called timeouts that they use every now and then. We can do a full segment on when teams use timeouts.
Missy says she's about 12 seconds behind, and then she's on NHL app on my Roku.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not bad if you're only 12 seconds behind. That's pretty good, actually.
That's pretty good.
Yossi's up to almost 30 minutes of ice time tonight. You know that dude's got to be tired.
Oh, yeah.
He's used to it, though. A Preds Stars game never disappoints, does it, Rich? I mean, seriously.
It doesn't.
Like, it's just like.
Yep.
It's Justin's a complete.
On ESPN Plus.
It's the complete opposite of the Panthers game, though. That's what's really crazy is like, I mean, you've seen 2 different styles of games on different ends of the spectrum for Preds fans this week, from Tuesday night against the Panthers and Thursday night against the Stars. I mean, it's like
lots of scoring, but nothing, not hardly any tonight. Yep.
All right, so the Preds have possession of the puck. Be smart and make one more rush. Don't let them have the puck back to score, and see if you can score right here.
Yep.
That was a heck of a try by Matt Duchene. He tried to break in and score and be the hero, and he almost pulled it off. And then Saros had to also make a crazy save. And we're heading to the shootout.
Ugh, my worst. I hate it.
You'll see it, Rich. You'll see. Matt Duchene made a really
right now. Oh,
he made he made a really good effort. He was like, screw it, I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna try to make it happen. And then your boy Jamie Benn almost beat Saros.
Yeah, he got almost got a rebound off that.
Yeah, so Duchene nearly broke in on a crazy stick handling move, but Heiskanen was right on him, and Ottinger kind of did a poke check. So that shootout that we all love, here it is. You know, Stars fans have nightmares right now from last season because they kept losing to the Preds in overtime last season.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the reason why they missed the playoffs.
I remember a very mad and bloodied Roman Josi scoring a very awesome shootout goal.
I do hate the shootout, though, because it really does feel like you're flipping a coin a little bit. Like, I'm not crazy about it at all.
Why is Matt Benning standing up? He's not going to go shoot out.
I hope not. No, Michael McCarron's going to be our first shootout contestant.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
It'll take 5 minutes for him to make it to Ottinger.
And then after that, it's Ben Harper.
Oh, he's not even playing.
And then Lucas Spies is going to round out the shootout line.
Come on down, Ben. We're going to let you do the shootout.
Rich, I'm not getting any credit for throwing Lucas Spies in
on
our
good.
plug.
I caught it.
For anyone who's watching Catfish on Ice for the first time, we mention Lucas Spiza every episard. We figure out a way to do it. Our Lucas Spiza plug tonight is he's going to be in the shootout. All right.
Yep.
Duchene gets stopped there on his first attempt. He kind of waited a little too long to make his move. If honestly, he just got in too tight.
Yeah.
He got in too tight. All right. Stars are up. They got Jason Robertson going first.
I'm just now seeing Duchene.
I'm sorry to spoil it for you, Rich.
You're fine. Oh, man. Duchene would have had him.
Oh, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Rich, you can just put earplugs in for the rest of the shootout, but that wouldn't be fun either.
AJ Evans. I think I've never seen him before. Thank you for showing up. Yeah, Saros.
Welcome in, AJ. We appreciate you commenting. Yeah. Saros in all caps. That always works. It's always a safe. All right, Phil. Phil Forsberg. Oh my gosh, man. That was a good move. Ottinger was just better. That was a really good move by Forsberg, and Ottinger was just better. Dude. What can you do about that?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Ottinger just threw the pad out there. It was a great save. Oh! Pavelski is denied.
Oh, awesome. JC says Robertson tries to go 5-hole every time.
Switch it up, Robbo. I like that. All right, so 0-0 through the first 2 rounds of the shootout, and Roman Josi, the captain, is up. Let's get that extra point. Oh, my gosh.
AJ Evans. I hate this. Me too.
I mean, this is like, does anybody want to get this extra point? Does anybody? Roman Josi blew a tire.
Oh, it sucks.
He didn't get a chance to make his full move. Yeah, he blew a tire. All right, it's okay. Tyler Seguin. I don't want to see him in this moment.
Nope.
Oh, another save. Dude, this might be the best watch along we've ever had, Rich. We've done like 5 or 6 of these. We've done 5 or 6 of these.
Missy says, I think shootouts are more nerve-wracking. They are. Yep. I agree.
Well, this is why the NHL is never going to get rid of it, because they know.
Yep.
I mean, the NHL knows what they're doing. All right. We got Granlund up here. Granny, win it for us.
Please.
Oh! The Granny is in the building.
Did he do it?
Granny just delivered.
Yes.
Game's not over yet.
It's not.
Granny wants us to win. Thank you, Granny.
So if Sorrow stops
this
one,
it's over. Granny is also one of the best nicknames ever for a sports athlete. But that was a sneaky good goal. That was sneaky.
I just saw it. Come on.
And your Nashville Predators have won.
Yes. Yes. Who was it?
I didn't even see who the Stars shot for, but the overtime woes. The overtime woes for the Nashville Predators beating the Dallas Stars in overtime. I'm sorry, but Dallas fans, I know we're probably in your nightmares every night when it comes to overtime.
Oh my gosh. What an awesome game.
And look at UC Saros. Look at the joy on UC Saros' face, knowing how important this night was. The Predators beat the Dallas Stars in a shootout on Peccaryne night.
Oh my gosh, man. Yes, Missy has a very good point. We will remember this night for sure. Absolutely.
And you know what? We really appreciate all of you watching it with us. And the Preds, they're raising their sticks at mid-ice. They've done this for years and years for the fans when they win. Yes. This is a great, memorable night for the franchise. Mm-hmm. Look at the genuine smile on UC Saros' face.
Absolutely.
Because he knows how big of a deal this was. You see David Riddick out there.
Yep.
Excited. This whole team is together.
Yep. JC, it's okay. We got a point. We'll take anything. Good game, Preds. It was a very good game. I will say.
Good game to you, JC.
There was only one fight. It was just hockey, and that's awesome.
It was hard-nosed, grueling hockey. And should we expect anything different when it's the Preds versus the Stars? We shouldn't.
Absolutely.
It happens almost every game. I mean, this team's just know how to battle each other. I mean, it's become one of the better rivalries in hockey right now going on. Honestly, I know it's not a historic rivalry. I know it's not a traditional rivalry per se.
Yep.
But for Stars fans and for Preds fans, I can tell you it is a bitter rivalry.
Yep. This has definitely been the best watch along so far. So much fun.
And you're seeing the fans just really show all their love. The fans have been outstanding. We always know that they're outstanding. We're coming up on the 3-hour mark of Catfish on Ice episode 108. Maybe one of our longest episodes we ever done. But we wouldn't. But it's totally appropriate when it's Peccaryne night, and you go to a shootout against the Dallas Stars, a critical game for the playoff hunt. I mean, the Stars, no pun intended, but the Stars aligned tonight, Rich.
The Stars did align. That's awesome.
All right, who's your top 3 players of the game, real quick, before we wrap up episode 108, Rich?
Well, Mikael Granlund, definitely. He got the first star. Saros played out of his mind, I believe. Those are definitely 2 of the big ones. Big props to Tomasino, man, for getting that goal. That was a beauty.
He got off the schneid a little bit.
Yep.
Tomasino gets off the schneid and gets a goal, his 7th of the year. Yeah, you know what? I agree with both of those, obviously, Granlund and Saros, but I'm going to stick to my guns. That penalty kill when it was 4-on-3,
right?
Matt Benning, Colton Sissons, and Matthias Ekholm. How many shots did they block on that sequence?
A lot.
That felt like the scenario where the Stars were going to win the game was when it was 4-on-3.
I think you're absolutely correct. That was definitely the turning point of this game right there. That was an awesome kill.
For sure.
Definitely.
And again, everyone, we appreciate you joining us. And before we let you go, we want to throw some love to our sponsor, DraftKings. DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of the NBA, whether it's a windmill dunk, whether it's between the legs. DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code. Bet just $1 on any NBA team. Get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook and official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and up, minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for a full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming sources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. If you're in Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. If you're in New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. Yes, the NBA is heating up just like the hockey season is. So for all of our Hoops fans, you need to go get that. If the sportsbook isn't available yet in your state, you can still take a shot at a big payday, and everyone can play for huge cash prizes. And new customers are getting a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. So again, DraftKings.com, our sponsor, we love them, official sports betting partner of the NBA. You can turn a $5 bet into $100 or a $1 bet, not even $5, a $1 bet into $150 in free bets if your team wins that you bet on. Rich, this has been a lot of fun, man.
Oh my gosh, so much fun.
We're heading into the Stadium Series game. Real quick before we go, we're going to send you also to the Lightning Insider interview to get you ready for the Stadium Series. So all of our live viewers right now, you need to go download the podcast. We will have it up later tonight if you're up late, or when you wake up tomorrow morning, it will be available for download. You're going to need to go download the episode and check out our interview with Eric Erlandson of Lightning Insider as we preview the Stadium Series matchup on Saturday at Nissan Stadium, and also get caught up on what's going on with the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've got a lot of storylines, and it was awesome that Eric joined us. All right, real quick before we go to that interview, Rich, what's your prediction for Saturday Stadium Series? And then I'll give you mine.
I think it's going to be another fight like this one tonight. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm just going to say 2-1 Preds.
What?
I'm just going to say
low scoring.
I think so. I think it's going to be a fight like this one.
Low scoring. All right. I think the Preds are back on their winning ways. I think they are really just finding some better luck and better fortune, but they're also just working out some of the kinks. The atmosphere and the energy in Nissan Stadium is going to be really fuel them. I got a 4-3 Preds win in overtime.
There you go.
Now that's calling my shot right there.
That is. That's
Going out on a limb there. 4-3 Preds win in overtime in Nissan Stadium under the lights in Nashville on Saturday. That's my prediction. We will be back Monday for a full reaction of the Stadium Series. Stay tuned for the interview with Lightning Insider. Until then, thanks everyone for joining the watch along with us. Stay tuned for the interview with Lightning Insider. This is episode 108 of Catfish on Ice, brought to you by DraftKings and part of the Hockey Podcast Network.
Have a good one.